Good morning. Today is Monday, June 15th, 2020. It's 9 a.m. We are at Commissioners Court Annex at 114 West Buffington Drive or Avenue in Anderson, Texas, at which time we are having a budget workshop meeting of Commissioners Court of Grimes County, Texas. We've called the meeting to order. We are here to discuss and review the Grimes County FY 2021 budget request at this point. And it says employee performance reviews. However, we are not discussing employee performance reviews at this time. First one up on the docket this morning is Justice of the Peace Court number 1. And that would be Judge Ecord. And that's going to be Department 436 for us. If anybody's there, ring out the page number.
19.
Awesome. And Judge, and since your counterparts are here, I'll just give it one time. I guess kind of like magistrate and 3 people at the same time. Read you your rights. We are not discussing any performance reviews for employees at this time. And the reason is Commissioners Court is trying to overcome a $700,000 deficit in request to the monies that we are currently working with. And we don't have a solid figure of revenues that we're working with because, one, with this COVID-19, we don't know what it's going to do to our sales tax revenues, how far it's going to take it down. We are not sure what the 3.5% cap for SB2 is going to do to our ad valorem taxes. So we're trying to put together the budget based on 2020 revenues, and we will not have certified numbers from the tax assessors, the district tax assessor collector's office until July 27. What's 2 days? July 25th. So that's a long way off. So as we work with these budgets, we're dealing with some unknowns, but we are trying to be conservative. We're trying to overcome that $700,000 deficit. So with that, and you are looking at a little bit of a different format. Jesse, have they got the new documents?
Yes, she provided just longer.
You are looking at a little bit of a different format, but at the end of the day, I think you would agree it's a better format because you'll see Justice of the Peace JP1, and it shows your salary down below, but it also shows your supplement by definition. It also shows your clerk 4 what their annual rate is, and your clerk 2 what their annual rate is. And it used to be last year everything was all lumped together, and it was rather difficult for you probably to differentiate who's making what and how much and so forth. So I think this is a real positive for us. As we move down the list, I will share that the auditors again have changed the number of hours. I tease them, but this year we're on 2096 payroll hours. In 2021 we'll be in 2088 payroll hours. Normally we work at 2080 payroll hours annually, but I guess the leftovers from leap year and all of that, 2021 will be at a 2088. And the auditors have already calculated that information into your pay records that you're looking at on your run. Your group insurance, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but our overall county insurance for every employee is going down a little bit. We've been a healthy county, and based on our usage of the insurance, we're going to enjoy that positive benefit. So I guess the first thing that we're going to talk about, because I don't see any overtime allocation of hours in what you've requested, the first thing we would talk about is the office supplies. And also in definition, I don't recall because I've talked to so many people, but we did talk to some people via conference call with the auditors. Were you one of those calls?
No, sir. no.
Okay.
Well, yeah, well, yes, we did
Okay.
one.
So you may have already been hit once, and this is because the commissioners were not a part of that. By the way, let the record show that Commissioner Dobianski is not present with an absence. But today is the day that all of the commissioners are going to have an opportunity to question and share their thoughts. And again, this isn't our final budget. We'll have to meet at least one more time with improvements or more deficit. So, office supplies is $1,500 for the year. In 2018, you spent $850. 2019, you spent $1,161. Thus far this year, you've only spent $432. And my run is June the 8th. Is that the run that
We've ordered since then, so we've spent more than.
Starting to use some more of that?
We're
Okay.
gonna use some more of that.
So does the 1,500 seem to be a good number for
I'm not
you?
asking for any increases on anything. I can work with the budget that it was in 2020.
Okay, so you want to keep that at 1,500?
If I can keep everything the same, I can make it work.
Well, for today, you can. Okay? All right. Postage, we have 600, but you haven't used any thus far.
Well, that's not right, because I know we've used.
Maybe you're
Hold on.
charging it to Commissioner Mallett.
Well, no. Did you mean to scratch this out and put, because it says county court on here?
No, so I had to call our software company
Okay.
and they had it set up.
I just want to make sure that these are my numbers, you know.
They are your numbers.
Okay.
They had the titles wrong. It's a new report that is in testing, and so that was
Because
about.
I know that we have, on postage, we've used most of it this year, Judge, and it was labeled postage on the
Okay.
old
And
format.
do you use a lot of registered mail?
No, sir, we do not send that much registered or certified, anything like that. It's all, show cause letters and stuff like that, we use regular mail.
Okay, because if you did use registered, I'm gonna say the 600 is a little bit light. you know,
Right.
And we're
Well,
not.
you know, they used to, Justice Court Training Center wanted you to just about send everything certified mail and all of that. They have backed off of that, allow us to use regular mail, and of course, with all of this COVID going on, emails and stuff like that, they've lightened their stance on it, so
Okay.
we're using normal mail.
Well, in previous years, it was even higher than 600.
Right, I mean, when I came on 3 years ago, I cut everything, and I've got it down to a level now where it's been working every year, so.
I got a question for the auditor. In this report, year-to-date, that's what he's used thus far, right? So on here, it says he's used $450.
Okay, so again, I'll make that note and I'll let our, the software company know, because it's not numbers we're pulling. I mean, we're just printing a report and their numbers are, so that's a bug. So I will have to let them
So
know.
yours is showing where we spent 450 on, that's what I'm saying, I know we've spent pretty close to our amount on postage, so. Mine's got 0 here, so I'm like.
And mine does too, so I will let them know
Yeah, I knew
that
that
that's
could be
a bug.
that.
That's all right.
Are y'all looking at 6-8 reports?
I'm looking at the budget from the last commissioner's court.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, rentals and contracts, we have $100, and I guess that's for your post office box. And when we move to the new building, that's not gonna affect you, because you're not moving.
No.
But we're hoping that a number of, if not all of the PO boxes that we have for everybody that's gonna go to the new building, we can eliminate those.
Unfortunately, we'll have to keep ours, so.
Yep.
It didn't get flooded the other day. I meant to ask somebody.
And I think ours is up high enough that it didn't get flooded.
What, the post office flooded in Iowa?
That happens on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Oh.
They redid the concrete in the parking lot the other day. I don't know that that's gonna help the situation. I mean, it usually gets, when it comes to real good rain, it'll get this water damage.
Really?
I know I've been in office 3 years and I think they've worked on it 3 times.
Just the culvert that's crossing 39, that's
Yeah.
kind of blocking everything up
Yeah.
there. It's a TxDOT problem.
Okay.
I thought they were supposed to try to fix it.
Well, if you get the feds involved, it'll never get fixed, go ahead. All right, repairs and maintenance is 0, dues and subscriptions is 200. The cell phone air card is 1,080. Are you the only one with the cell phone up there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have two ladies and neither one of them
Neither
use
one
one or need it?
No, sir.
Okay. How did, when you were, I guess they work from home some part of the time? Did that work okay?
They were taking files home and, you know, the way we did it, I had them coming into the office. Of course, the office was closed when we shut everything down. I had one clerk a day coming in and working till noon, basically answering emails, checking the mail at the post office, doing that. And then they were going, but they were alternating so that we wouldn't all be at the office at the same time.
Okay.
And then, but we went back to work the second week of May. I opened the office back up. I pulled both my clerks in, asked them, I said, look, we take precautions. Remember I called you, I said,
Right.
fine violation of opening back up. And I asked the clerks, they were good with it, and we went back to work, opened the office. We've been open up as usual with our social distancing restrictions and all of that. But we've been back since first part of May.
Okay. So the one cell phone is good enough for your business?
Yes, sir, and I've contemplated at times getting rid of it, but I have my county email on that, and I'm not about to put my county email on my personal phone, so that's
smart.
That's the
Okay.
main thing.
Traveling conferences, you have 2,200.
Yes, sir.
Previous years, you spent more than that. Of course, this year is flat. We understand that. Everything's been
Well,
canceled.
and my first year was so high because I had 3 schools to go to as
Yeah.
a rookie JP, so that was one reason it was higher.
But you do have continuing education you're required to
20
take
hours,
annually.
20 hours, we go once a year. And then I've tried to send my clerks to a school once a year to keep their refreshed and
Okay.
learning.
Fair
I
enough.
do have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
On the cell phone, is that air card too? Is
That's
that-
just a cell phone.
That's just
all-
your cell
a cell phone.
Okay, do you have AT&T or Verizon?
I guess it's Verizon. I don't get the bill for it. I mean, I just.
I mean, that number seems high if everybody else's is 6 something. Is there a difference because he's in the north or what?
Well, I mean, you know, when I took office, Stapleton had an air card, and I told them to shut it off. And
That's
then
what I'm
they got me a
wondering
cell
about.
phone. I don't know if they've been paying. I haven't questioned the commissioner. That's probably a good question, because I've kind of wondered why it's been so high. When I look at, you know, the monthly reports coming to the commissioner's
You
court, and
may
see what
still
other
have
folks'
air
cell
card
phone.
on there,
So-
because that seems kind of high to be just a
So-
cell phone, I don't know.
Right, you're paying $88.02 a month, and you asked for that to be discontinued? Is that what you said? Your, my card?
Because, I mean, all I've got is the cell phone.
8802 is 1056. So,
But it might be something worth looking at if we're getting better rates now from
Right,
AT&T.
I mean, because like I say, other than all of my contact information for Montgomery County forensics, county officials, deputies, all of that, the only thing I really use it for is when I do have to check my email and have that. And something that I am gonna have to look into is when we do the video magistration. I don't have Wi-Fi at my house, so I might have to use the hotspot on it to do the video magistration from my house.
So that could be the difference, if you have
So,
a
and
hot
that-
spot.
and that could be, but
that
I
may
am
be.
gonna have to have, so before we go cutting it off, I know that we're gonna do what video magistration training on the 23rd, Judge, I think is what you sent me.
Yes.
And I am gonna have to have, that is something that, I do not have a county laptop. And so I've been having to use, when we do the Zoom meetings with the district judges, I've been having to use my wife's personal laptop to do it. When we start doing the video magistration from home, I'm not going to use my personal laptop. So the county is gonna have to provide me with the laptop where I can do the remote magistration.
did you put that on your inventory to Greg Cannon this year?
I did, I don't know that I put, I think I
Yeah,
might
you
have.
did. You
I
put
did.
3 computers, 3 monitors, 3 printers, and 1 copier.
Well, that's current inventory.
Oh, that's your
inventory.
current? Oh,
And we weren't real sure, when we did all this, we weren't real sure about the video magistration, of course, because we kind of put it on the back burner because of the cost of it, and then COVID hit,
And we're gonna do it this year.
and we're doing it, we're gonna do it, and so I'd already sent that in when we said, yes, we're gonna do the video.
So what we need to do is Do you have a desktop? or
I have a
laptop?
desktop, and it does
Then-
not have a camera on it, so that's the reason that I've had to use my personal laptop to do the Zoom meetings with the
Well,
district judges.
what we need to do is get you a laptop that has a camera built into it or attachment, and get you a docking station so that you can still have one computer, but you'll have to take it home on your weekends to
Right,
magistrate.
right,
ahead.
and I can give my desktop up, and I told Andrew and Greg that when they were up at the office, here recently, you know,
Okay.
that if and when we do go to it and we get me a laptop to use, that I can get rid of the desktop. However, I do know that when we go to LGS in my office, which is gonna be sometime this year supposedly, my clerks will have to have dual monitors, so there's one monitor that we don't have to buy, they can use the one on my desk. But like I say, I am gonna need access. I don't have a landline in my house, I don't have Wi-Fi in my house, and for me to do video registrations, we operate off a hotspot. Of course, my wife's been working remotely because she's a teacher from the house. We use our hotspots on our phone for internet access, and one end of our house you get signal, the other you don't. So I'm kind of out in the backwoods.
Well, is it a consideration of you that if you video magistrated, you do that from the office?
Well, I could, but I'm not, necessarily,
You
that's
wanna do it in your
That's one
pajamas,
good
huh?
thing, that's one good thing about us going to video magistration. If for some reason I need to be gone that weekend and go somewhere, I could have it with me and do it wherever I'm at, so.
Gotcha.
It's not a problem for me to get my truck and drive 7 miles, 6 miles to the office, and I don't have a problem with doing that. And there'll probably be some weekends, Judge, that I will do that because I go to Iowa to check my cattle on the weekend anyway, so I can do that. But there are gonna be times where, I might wanna not leave the house, so.
You just wanna put a shirt on, be in your pajama pants when
No,
you do
sir,
it?
I'm not gonna do that. You're not gonna catch me in a nice dress shirt with my boxers on or something underneath, that's,
Never say never.
no.
With that being said, do we need, if that's the case, do we need to leave that air card intact?
It sounds like it.
Yeah, that's why I say, before we cut that off, let's kinda see what's gonna
No,
happen.
I was just questioning the cost because we hadn't seen that figure.
I've questioned it too, Commissioner, because I look at, like I say, I look at the end of the, month approval bills that are coming to the Commissioner's Court, and I see what other people are paying for their cell phones, I'm like, why is mine so high? And like I
It's the
say, I don't
hotspot
use it,
problem.
main thing I use it for is my email on the weekends, being able to access it and when I'm not at the office. I don't want to just give it up completely because of that reason. Of course, if I go and have a laptop, there might, but I still have to have, like I say, internet access. That is a problem on
So
mine.
when you say you questioned it, did you call AP and ask them about it?
I have not asked him about it. I just, like I say, I do know where it says the cell phone / air card, and I do realize that Gene had that air card
Okay.
when I took office, but I told him to cut it. I mean, I think I turned it into technology, to IT, because I don't use it. I mean, I never have used it. So,
All right. We will go to machinery and equipment.
Excuse me,
I'm
Judge.
sorry, just 1 second. What did you say the experience for postage was on your other report? Can you tell me?
450.
It said, 2020, year-to-date budget was $450.
It's not 430, okay, because I know the 432 line is on office supplies right above it, so are you reading straight across?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And like I said, I know that's we've spent $450, $500
You
on
wanna see-
postage this
you
year.
wanna see?
I do, that's why I knew that when I seen that zero, that's not right.
Can you give me that report, please, so I can see it while you're talking about
Her
it?
eyes are younger than mine. That's a lot of little numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know, I forgot my glasses.
Oh,
Yeah.
not
At least
good.
at least it's not all day, my eyes will get foggy if I get it all day.
Yeah, it says 0 on here too. So
It
that's
says a
just-
lot of numbers on there.
Yeah, it's a little small, but it shows 0 too. I just wanted to make sure when I talk to them about it, that I can tell them correctly.
Well, like I say, I know that that's
When
zero
you
is
buy
not
it,
correct.
right, I'm not questioning that it's wrong.
Because what we
You're
do
right.
is we purchase it on, when I
Where do you-
send the clerk to the post office with the credit card, and she purchases it.
So it's purchased on the
It's
credit
purchased on the credit card,
Okay,
yes, ma'am.
So that gives me I need to go with that route.
So you're looking at the encumbrance and then the budget, then
I'm
they
looking at
said
the
they did a
2020.
budget amendment.
That it's budgeted for 600. I was looking all the way down. I think it's the second
All the way
to last
over.
column, and it's 0.
To the ending balance?
to the actual. So you pay for it on credit card?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Are we done there?
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Machinery and equipment is 500. Do you know what you have planned for that?
Emergency, that's what I told you. I told y'all on the conference call, you know, and before. I don't anticipate anything this year, but before I just take it down to zero or leave it, I would like to leave it there and for emergencies.
Okay.
Well, if he's doing a laptop, which you just
that-
communicated that's a machine,
out of-
and that may not be enough. for
That comes out of
lap-
Greg.
It comes out of
Yeah,
the
but-
technology department.
Oh, out of
And
y'all's
if worst
JP
case scenario,
technology.
we could pay for it out of the technology fund because that is,
We'll probably do it through a COVID expense, and because if it's for magistrate, we're
Yes.
doing magistrate because of COVID.
Mhm.
So the laptop, we probably
Add it
don't
on.
wanna put it in our budget, we wanna go ahead and purchase it this year.
Yeah,
Right.
right
and
away,
charge it
because
off.
he's already in COVID.
right.
Right, well, and we've already purchased the magistrate, I think, part of it, the system or all of it, so we'll
Yeah.
go ahead and add a laptop to that. Speaking of that, do any of y'all need a laptop as well?
Gotta leave it open, it's a public meeting, sorry.
Will you-
rock out
Did you
there.
hear her? She just
You
asked a
have a
question.
laptop?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a laptop already?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so it's just one.
With the COVID-19, we're able to code some expenses because the state has funded us some money because of COVID-19. I do remember having a conversation, I guess we could do that when we come to your budget, about Emily, you know, and the work coming in.
Well, let's see,
Are
that
are
was,
you talking about the ear, like what?
I'll wait till we get to your budget.
Okay.
well, and that is one thing, see, when I did send my clerks home to work when we closed, all the laptops had been already issued out down here.
Yeah,
So,
that's what-
and that's one thing we could do, and I've told my clerks, if I get a laptop, if we get to that point again, at least we'll have one in the office that I can send home with them to do work, because I mean, the way it is right now, I mean, they're pretty limited on what they can do from home as far as work we do in the office. So-
But I will say, and not to waste money, but we have a fairly significant allocation of funds that we can utilize if we can tie it to COVID, providing we didn't have it in this year's budget. That we don't, just like with the video conferencing, we didn't have it in, we're talking about next year's budget,
Right.
but we don't have it in this year's budget. So those are COVID allowable expenses. I made a note for Sheriff Gregg.
Potentially for two laptops then as well, maybe one for the clerks and to do remote
Right,
work
if,
as well.
if we run into that again. Be a possibility. I mean, I'm not trying to just say waste money, because I don't believe in that, but I mean,
But if it would, I mean, yeah, you never know.
you never know.
Well, if that's the case, is the air card COVID?
Well,
Because
so-
what if she doesn't have internet?
So to do that, you would probably only be able to do, the first few months of it. It's not, they're not gonna pay for it.
Continuously
Yeah.
do it. It's
Yeah, it's to get you
More
set up and.
one-time
get you going.
expense stuff is what it's
Yes,
gonna be
yes.
more or less for.
So if we, and we're currently already budgeted for it,
Correct.
so that would not work, if he's currently paying for that
Okay.
fare card.
Okay.
And with that, $500.
Can I ask a question here, just as someone that's not very IT savvy? Does an air card take the place of a hotspot?
They're essentially the
Are they
same.
essentially the same? I've never dealt with an air card, I don't know.
They're essentially the
I
same.
have
One
a
can be
similar
an individual.
concern that he does when we go to the video magistration. We work off of a hotspot at the house, but, and I don't know how this works really, but the more you use it, the slower it gets sometimes, and I'm concerned about it.
Well, you have so many, gigabytes, I guess, at a certain speed, depending on what you pay for, and then once you get to that point, you don't lose service, you
Right.
just it gets slower.
And
is
I'm
what
wondering if
amounts
it
to.
slows down enough, if it's, you know, it's
I
gonna
mean,
take
we
6
have
hours.
unlimited stuff on
to
our
do
phones at the
format
house because of my
registration
wife and the
or
amount of
something.
work she has to do, so, I mean, we don't ever really run into that, so.
And it could be the area you're in.
Well, Piedmont is kind of notorious for not being like the rest of the country.
But that is, you're right, that's something you need to think about and consider too, because
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to clarify that, because like I said, I'm not familiar with airport service.
That, Ag Extension had a little box they could bring over and sit down and everybody could connect to it.
I think you can have 5 devices that logged onto it at one time, I think is what on those little
And it wasn't
boxes.
running off a phone, so his phone was free. It was just a
Because I
box.
will tell you, if you're running your hotspot off your phone and you're doing, it's eating up too much, it will drain your battery on your phone. You just about gotta keep your phone plugged in, because it will drain your battery.
Judge, that'll do you.
Well, I got one more thing, since I'm first to go, and, you know, y'all did comment on all of us showing up together. And I know this ain't the year and the time to be bringing this up, but I know it's been brought up by Judge Underwood in previous years. We've sat down and we've talked about this, and, we would like to see this matter addressed at some time. And since I was first to go, and I'm gonna be the one to respectfully submit this to y'all. And after my day yesterday, I kind of reaffirmed that yes, we needed to do this today.
Thank you, Judge.
Not in final response to what your request here, but one of the things that we did as a court, well, one, the commissioners did get an increase. That portion of the court did. The commissioners court last year also agreed to the travel allowance that was implemented for the three of y'all to help offset some of your travel costs and some of the business of 24-hour call and so forth. But we will certainly take this under consideration.
We would like to, for y'all just to consider us, because sometimes we feel like we are the forgotten ones and forgot about, and our jobs are very important. And like I said, after my day yesterday, being woken at 6 o'clock in the morning by a deputy who was hung up on one of our county roads, and dispatch couldn't get a hold of a record service to answer the phone, he decided to call the JP to come get him out. Now, I got up, got dressed, made my way. He was in Shower Road, right outside of Shower Road. I got to Singleton. He called me, said they got a hold of somebody. So I turned around and went back. And then yesterday afternoon, having to go to an inquest, you know, well, it was my Sunday trying to do things, and you get there and there's buzzards flying over the house and blowflies covering the walls.
Oh, God.
You know,
And-
sometimes I feel like.
And I personally have an appreciation for what you judges do, since I get.
Well, and I was gonna say, Judge, you know, for the first time in, I don't know, ever or a long time, you coming on board and experience in helping out, doing magistrations and taking death calls if we're out of town, I want you to know we greatly appreciate that. And we understand, you understand firsthand now what we deal with and how important our jobs are. And from my standpoint, and Judge Underwood, Judge Lofton, we greatly appreciate that, and we've appreciated your service. So, like I say, something we've discussed in between us, and I know Judge Underwood brought it up last year, and like I say, just keep that in your back pocket and back of your mind. We appreciate that. I know this ain't the year to be bringing it up, but.
Well, it might be once July the 25th
That's right,
gets
we
here.
don't know what the rest of the year is gonna be, but thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge?
Maybe we won't be as broke as we think we are.
That would be wonderful. And with your permission, Judge Underwood, I'm not going to go through the introduction that I gave Judge Accord since you were here,
Well, thank you so much.
and I don't mean to rush you, but,
We've taught him something, Magistrate, and he knows only read it one time.
okay, that's right.
I thought it was a group interview to begin with.
Do you have any overtime hours? I'm trying to focus here.
I don't see any.
I don't see any. Okay, with that, we're going to drop you down to line 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, 43. 40, 3, 0, you don't have to agree, but the niceness of this report, breaking out your salary, and it shows your two clerks and what their levels are. But I think, Jesse, aren't we also going to get it included, their salary grades in there eventually?
Yes, I put in a request last week.
Yeah, okay, so you'll be able to see what grade they are, and then if that doesn't kind of meet what you thought they were, then we have an opportunity to visit that at some point. With that,
Is that not in there now?
There is a title, but it's not pulling the actual grade and listing it by position.
So if it says clerk 2,
Well, that's the position title, but there's a position grade. And so some of them will say, like the elected officials, it'll have an EO underneath the grade. And then the law enforcement, they have the different types of grades as well. So right now, it's not listing. There are some that it'll say clerk 2 or clerk 5. And so you can see it in the position title, but not all titles include the actual grade.
And then at some point, you'll have their hourly rate on that line too. So not only will we see the total amount of their salary, their pay, but we'll have the hourly rate on it too.
If that's a request of yours, if you would like to see that, I can definitely do
Yeah,
it.
if you can put that in there, I would like, I mean, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. And just note that that salary never changes from the 2080. So we only, if you did just have the salary, I'm sure they could do that, but if you did just have the salary listed there, that portion will always be 2080.
Okay.
Because we have a separate line that any hours over 2080,
Okay. All right.
where that goes, so.
with that, Judge Underwood, we're gonna drop you down to 4305, and that, for us, it'll be on page 20. No, we do have some salary overtime. None is requested, okay. Jury pay on your line 4151, that's new.
Well, jury pay is, that should have been moved. Is there a budgeted amount there? There's not.
Oh, you're on the county court law.
Oh, yes, you are.
look
down.
So I didn't have jury pay on mine.
I was
He's
on
at
it
the
too.
bottom. You
It's
start,
okay.
his at the bottom, and only office supplies.
Okay, I'm sorry. I would have thought JP1, JP2, JP3 would have been in consecutive order, but
they
it's
broke
not.
The auditors, right?
No, they had some empty numbers there.
Those numbers were set up long
Yeah.
before we came.
They put the county clerk at
right.
law in between.
Last line on page 20 is office supply, 4305. We have you at $2,000. Is that still a needed number for you, Judge?
Well, that's what's been in the budget the past couple of years. As you can see, last year, we were only at 1,400, previous year 16. Probably could be diminished a little. I might lower that to 1,700.
We will do that.
I figured you would.
Well, if you offer,
Yes.
there are no demands today. Jesse, you got that?
I only need to speak in increased numbers.
Well, no, that's not
Okay.
true. Postage is setting at 300. You haven't found your way over to the sheriff's postage machine yet?
No, thank you for the information.
Okay. Rentals and contracts is $64, and I guess that would be your P.O. box?
Yes.
All right. Now, yours has the potential of going away, and I guess that would be okay with you once we get to the new building, because you're making the move.
You know, the judge, you always like to have a little fluff in your budget.
Uh-huh.
So if we needed something, we've got $64 to play with.
Okay. And you are being recorded, but I don't think the
Okay.
taxpayers would mind too much on that, but, all right, $64 to play with. Telephone and fax at home, your number is $750. Dues and subscriptions is $200. You don't have a county cell phone?
No, sir.
That's your request not to have one?
Yes, sir. I returned it.
Okay.
One phone's enough.
Travel and conference is 2,700. I think your counterpart was 2,200, but maybe you need more schooling than he does.
Evidently. Takes a little longer to educate me, sir.
You're choosing to fill in the blanks. I'm not coaxing you. I just,
Excuse me. I had to clear my
Well,
throat.
well,
so,
you know, we go to school.
Right.
We also, in legislative years, we also have another 8 hours. We try to send our clerks to school each year. So, you know, it's kind of an average of past history and of where we set the number. And I think that's a fair number.
Where the conferences are.
Correct.
all right. Machinery and equipment, we have nothing there. Salary, duties, and assistance.
That's renumbered.
Yeah, we're in the 8,000. That's it. You're done.
Are y'all seeing more virtual classes in your office?
We always have the opportunity to, for videos and training. That's been as long as I've been in office, these past 6 years. And also for training, we can go back and look at archives of other past videos. We have that opportunity.
No, I was saying like, I saw where the legislative conference went virtual.
Well, but
So I
basically.
didn't know how it was affecting your offices too, on y'all.
An awful large part of our duties are evictions, okay? As far as courts are concerned. So, you know, yes, we've been encouraged to use the Zoom. But when you have someone that's absolutely has no money to pay the rent, they don't have the opportunity for a computer. It's also an excuse, hey, I don't have a computer, we can't go to court yet. So, but the state of Texas and our Supreme Court of Texas has opened back up our judicial duties to June the 1st, but we have an administrative judge that says we cannot have court until July the 1st. He
August.
overrides what the Texas Supreme Court.
August the 1st, is it not?
That's your jury trials.
Jury trials,
Excuse me.
okay, we can have in-person meetings starting here July 1st.
Well,
So-
I appreciate that explanation, but that wasn't my question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
My question was, we're seeing our conferences now go virtual.
Oh, yes, ma'am, I understand.
So I was wondering, were y'all seeing the same
Yes.
trend?
Yes, ma'am, for the rest of the year, all the JPs that have not taken their training and their 20 hours requirement are doing virtual
Okay.
schooling.
I just wondered, because.
But they are planning, you said the other day, they're planning on next year's schools all being in person.
That's what I was fixing to clarify, that there's, to my knowledge anyway, there's not a plan to go to virtual in the future altogether, instead of requiring us to actually attend. I have not heard anything along that line yet.
Is your equipment in your office, have you had an opportunity to rethink that since you've turned your information in as far as laptops, desktops?
Well, Judge, I think at this point, the only thing that we really discussed is as we change from Hill Country to the new software program, we'll need dual monitors at both clerk stations, and we put that in the IT budget. I don't foresee us needing any new equipment at this point in time.
But do you have a laptop?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
I work off a laptop rather than a desktop.
Okay,
Okay, at work.
that's fair enough.
And he did request 2 monitors on his form.
All right.
So is that something that's, is that something that's
Yes,
gonna
I do.
come out of COVID-19?
The monitors, I don't believe so.
And it's really a software issue rather than something for the,
Due to the
Yes, ma'am.
COVID, yeah, I would have to agree with them.
anything else, Your Honor?
Is there anything that we didn't ask you that you wanted to share?
Not at this time, sir.
Okay,
I'll plead the fifth.
thank you.
You're welcome.
They all three have the JP Technology Fund.
We're gonna discuss that after we discuss with
Okay,
Judge Lawson.
okay.
Okay?
Actually, Judge Lawson was gonna bring something up about the fund too.
Okay. Well, you can certainly do that, but it's the fourth thing on the list that we wanted to, and with the three of you being here, that'll be convenient if one and two can hold on.
Oh, we're gonna hold on.
You wanna see how he does?
Just get on the block, we wanna see how.
I'm not the rookie anymore, Judge, so, you know.
Understand, understand. All right, Judge, you've heard my spiel on all of the other business, but as you look at your report, you'll see that your salary is broken out along with your travel supplement, and then you see your clerks, you have three, where the other two JPs have two. You have a 4, a 3, and a 2, and their salaries are broken out.
I have positions for that. One of those has been vacant since the end of March.
Right.
And,
All right.
We're looking at posting that job next month.
Why the delay?
The business has slowed down enough through the COVID that I felt like we could do without it. But as we're opening up, things are starting to pick back up for us a little bit.
Okay.
Also, that was the position that, she was a Hispanic lady, she was bilingual, we needed that in the office, to translate, so that's another
Is that your 2, 3, or 4?
2.
2? Have you made that a requirement of the job?
It
Or
is
prefer-
listed in the job, description.
Okay.
That's what it's-
All right. All right, with that then, overtime, no overtime,
Nope.
group insurance is down, we'll go to office supplies, 4305, and we're at 2500.
That's the same thing it was last year. I did not try to increase it. We do, I think, use, now, like, of course, I'm getting confused here, that's postage I'm starting to talk about, but we've spent, what, $880 so far? I don't remember.
Last year was
Last year was
$2140.
$2140, so it wasn't too far off. You know, we might could trim a couple $100 off of it instead.
Is that your offer?
Yes, I would take a $300 deficit at this time.
What was that initial for like letterhead and stuff changing
Yes.
over? So that expense probably should be pretty significantly
Yeah.
less, or
I'm sorry, say again.
should that number then be pretty?
Minus 200, Jesse.
Or, because the year before. it was only
Minus, what did you
500.
say?
200.
I can't attest to that year.
You said a couple.
Other-
So,
Yeah, I don't know why the jump happened there, because
Well, like I said,
before I came into office, and I haven't identified a reason.
Yeah, letterhead's a pretty big.
It is, and cards are not cheap. The other thing that could impact that to some degree, I know at this time, if it all holds together, I have 4 jury trials sometime in the future. Okay, we had them scheduled before the COVID hit. Buying the jury card, I understand that comes out of our expense now instead of the district clerk. We spent like $70, $75 ordering enough cards because we had one scheduled before the COVID hit, and then of course we had to cancel it. So whenever that hits, we're gonna need money for that.
Let me make one other comment, y'all tell me when it starts, but hasn't the jurisdiction of JP courts now gone, or is going from 0 to 10,000 to 0 to 20,000?
That hits September the 1st.
Okay, so as we move into the next budget year, the potential of your caseload increasing is significant.
Potential. We're not sure how much it's gonna impact us yet.
But who takes the up to 20,000 now? Is that county court of law?
Yes.
So we'll have to remember that so we can cut his budget a little bit more.
And he's right, I mean, the jury cards are not, they're pretty steep price. And, you know, you're gonna, used to, when I first come on, they said, oh, you don't need to send out but 20, 25 of them to get, enough jurors there. And I will tell you, we send out 40 to 45 cards, and we might get 12 to 14 people to show up.
To get
So-
your 6.
To get our 6. And so, like I say, like I said, those cards, buying them and then having them printed and all of that, we need to prepare for that. Not even thinking about our jurisdiction going up to 20,000, because I imagine our jury trial, though, we'll probably pick up some in the future.
Just, when you only have that many, what is your course of action? I'm not trying
The
to,
constable goes out and pulls them off the street if you don't have enough.
well, I know, but what about the people that have been notified and then don't show up? I'm not trying to make it hard on our citizens, but, if they have that obligation and you have that need, what is the consequence of them not showing up?
They can be held in contempt, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, if you wanted to go that route, it
Well,
would
we
be
don't
fine.
take any retribution back to those folks. There are charges that could be filed, but we don't do that.
And I'm not saying we're trying to make it hard on our citizens, but being summoned to be a jury member and to come and be a jury, have a jury of your peers hear your case, that's a pretty big deal. To me, that's a pretty important deal.
Well, you'll get at least a third of them are exempt out. They'll have an exemption
Right.
and everything, and then you'll get probably 15% of them back, bad address, no longer lives there, all of that. So, it's, I think the amount that just don't show up is, like Judge Underwood, it's a pretty narrow group there.
Yes, it
So
is.
it's,
Okay.
But you have a case of having to overkill more or less to be able to make sure you get enough in, because the same process applies as it does to touch court or to the district court.
Right.
They have to, the lawyers that are involved have to go through voir dire, and they all get some strikes for calls and some for.
Have y'all had any discussion, do you think that because your limitation now goes up to $20,000, that more people might try in a JP court versus going to a county court?
Well, I think that's what the intent of going up on the jurisdiction level is.
Yes, we have a number of people that like to lower the claim to take it to a JP court, so they don't have to have an attorney for representation.
Okay.
So when you go out there, let's say the claim may be $12,000, they may reduce that loss so they can take it to JP court now, rather than go out and hire a $5,000 an attorney.
Right. But now they're not going to reduce it, they're going to go ahead and bring it to it.
and I've had one try to file 2 separate cases in JP court, break it in half so that he could get it under the $10,000 limit, just like I said, just like Judge said, just to keep it out of having to hire a lawyer and go to county court.
So it's going to be an interesting year for us to do some analysis on what happens to your individual caseloads and things of that sort.
Well, one of the good things that a smaller portion.
And Judge Laughlin, you don't mind Judge Underwood speaking in your time, do you?
Evidently not, he took some of my time.
And actually, we haven't started.
But this is just,
I don't think.
this is just information.
Sure.
A smaller part of our workload is civil cases.
Right. But it could increase with the changes.
It will
You could
increase.
see an increase in tort type cases as well. I mean, we don't know that for sure, but fender benders and slip and falls and that sort of thing would increase jurisdiction.
Okay. That's a whole new language, fender bender, slip falls. Okay, I'm sorry, I won't interrupt again, maybe. You got the minus 200 on the office supplies, Jesse? He said a couple and we took it. Postage is, holy cow, $17.50?
We do use quite a bit of what's the term? The
Certified.
Certified mail postage.
Is your court more
You see-
important than
you see-
JP1?
It's not a matter of importance, it's just what you deal with in your precinct.
Yeah.
We have a lot more of the rental property and first one thing I know there. I don't
People
know.
claiming not to get it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we used, if you look, we used 2140 last time around out of that. So I don't think that's too far out of whack. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, that was the one above it. We used 1457 of it.
Okay. All right, we'll leave that there. The rentals and contracts, y'all went to the key lock, your own
Yes.
personal.
We no longer require a PO box, so we've
Okay.
done away with that expense.
Has that worked out pretty good for you?
Yes, it has. We're having a little bit of difficulty getting people that have done business with us for a long time, including the A after the 205, but it's coming around.
So what do you have, A, B, C?
Yes.
Repairs and maintenance, 0. That, I believe, was, well, it was put to Al's and now it's put to Commissioner Walker's. Is that right, Jesse, or did you budget any?
No.
Okay, that settles that. Telephone, fax at home, you don't have anything budgeted there? So you don't use the county cell phone?
I do. I have a cell phone, and I thought we had $620 there.
Yeah.
That's a
Cell phones
different
is a
line.
item.
Different line.
But you have a fax at home?
Yes, I do.
Okay. But you're not budgeting anything there?
I did not change that. Same thing was set up last year.
I think it was, and was it you in the conference call that said, your fax at home, you have it, but it was only like $6 and you were paying for it?
That is correct. I just kind of took it out of the 1800 stipend thing. It's,
So we're okay at 0?
yes. As long as I keep it, you're okay.
But he did mention the internet
Yeah.
earlier, and he does not have that budgeted for the air card.
All right, we'll talk
Again,
about
at the time, I didn't even know what an airport was, so.
dues and subscription, $350.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Phones and air card, we got you at $620.
Can you get that for Piedmont, the air card?
I have no idea.
You can. The question is, does it work?
Yeah.
I can tell you this, the phone goes out about every time it rains, so.
Is he near grimescounty.net?
Is that the guy from, like you had installed over there? He has not been able to get a tower in our area yet, the last time I checked with him.
That's
When he
Metso,
does,
huh?
then that may be a consideration.
Okay.
I will bring up one thing, and I don't know if this is the time or whatever. In some conversation I had in the past with Greg Cannon, and it was about changing over to LCG. There was a
LGS?
LCS,
LGS.
from Hill Country to whatever we're going to.
Okay.
There was a fee or a licensing fee or something involved with whether your computer station was just to monitor, to go into the system and look, or if you had the ability to make changes. And it was, I think, 60 for one, 120 for the other. The clerks need to be able to make the changes that need to be done. I don't even really need to monitor, and I put that down initially. So when you look at his budget, if you want to back that out, I don't have a problem with it. That's $60 expense. The number of times we really need to go in and check something, I could go through the clerk and do that just as easily, so.
Are you understanding what
So
he's?
your LGS fee, they have 2 different fees. One is a viewing mode only, the
Yes.
other one is an entry.
Yes.
And you told Greg that you only needed viewing for you and the access to change for the
All the other
clerks.
3, yes.
So he gave us a lump sum. This is how much LGS is gonna cost for your office, for his office, and for JP2's office. So if you've already, when did you speak to him about that? Do you remember?
Oh, this has been
When you
several months ago.
They've got it, I've got it right here, Jesse, and they've got him for view only. They've got 3 full and 1 view only for you.
And what's
So
the total?
for his office is gonna be 480 plus 65, so 545
545.
for his office.
Just 1 second. Let me see.
And I'm not mistaken, that's a monthly charge, isn't it?
No, it's a one-time.
One time a year, okay.
Here's it, Jesse, because I've got the LGS stuff right there. Oh, yes, so those are really his too.
Oh, okay. So. And Greg, he turned in a list of everything for his, as far as the software goes, do y'all remember seeing that list under his budget? So it would just be a matter of checking that, but if he spoke with him prior to, okay, so,
Well, when I spoke with him, he included that, so supposedly.
But you're saying you don't even think you need to
Yeah,
view?
I don't think so. I think we can operate just fine as long as the perks have.
Mark, keep this, I don't want to interrupt you, but keep this in consideration. If you get a laptop and you're holding court, you can have access to that software while you're on the bench if you need to look at documents or whatever versus having a folder in front of you. Just keep that in mind. That's the reason I'm keeping entry and view on mine. I have access to it now because I do go in and make notes on cases and stuff so that they're on there. Keep that in mind. Just
Well,
$60 isn't much, you know.
Yeah, let's see.
I know it was a minimal offer in there, but since y'all are looking at pennies, I thought I'd throw it out there.
Sure.
go in and make notes and view things, so that's.
If you want to leave that, that's fine.
All right, we will. And then travel and conferences is 2,700.
let me get a copy of this.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, mine is 0.
Well, we can do that. Jesse, scratch the 2,700.
No, I think you're looking at
No.
machinery and equipment.
It says travel and conferences, JP3, in 18 it was 1590, 19 0.
Oh, you
But
must have
that's
gone-
what was turned in on his report, but
You had 3 JP schools this year.
Yeah.
Or, no, that was.
Well, I had that in 19.
I think they went ahead, y'all put it, but on his list, he had 0.
3,219.
Am I looking at the right thing here?
No, you're looking at Fund 33. Where's the other sheet that I gave you? It's on that one. There's a travel and conference on there.
So why do we have 2 travel and conferences?
You have a JP technology fund, and that could be used for,
So this one is supposed to be the technology fund?
yes, sir. You see how the first 4 digits are 00,
Can we
33?
call it travel and conference?
Well, there's a travel and conference line as well as machinery, equipment,
You
or
may
software.
use.
Okay, well, the other travel and conference then is 2,700, yes.
Right.
We've used 1,300 so far, or no, 730 so far.
And this year's not, this year's not a good comparison.
Yeah.
You used 24/7, you used about 2,500 in 18. You
We had to
used
evidently move
3,200 in 19.
But that was the year I had to go to 3
Right,
schools in Austin too, so.
okay. So you think 2,700 is?
I think it's plenty of it, if we can keep that, yeah.
Okay. And for now, you can. That's it, sir?
One other thing, if I may. I had a conversation with Greg the other day about this. When we went to our annual training, in Galveston last year, I ran off over a ream of paper of stuff that they had us copy to take, had 2 big 3-ring binders. I would like to buy an iPad out of the technology fund that would let me download that stuff to it and be able to carry that. I only have 1 copy of this and I apologize for it, but this is.
Did you submit that to Greg?
No, I just got the information from him. Since the technology fund was coming up here, I wanted to bring it up.
And also, Judge, we came, remember we were having a conversation earlier, and I bring it back to your attention to when the internet was down, Emily had no access, y'all office
Yeah,
didn't
for about
have,
2 weeks, we didn't have internet or phone.
so she didn't have the ability to take a laptop unless it was your laptop home.
That's correct.
So is this a time that you need a laptop?
Well, I mean, how often in history have we run into that? I mean, I know it's been down for a day or 2 in the past, but that was kind of an exception, I think.
But
And the
with the-
county does have extra laptops now. At that particular time, most of them were loaned out because of COVID, I understand. But on a normal year, I think one would probably be available if we could request for a short period of time as opposed to buying another.
Just thought I'd throw it out there.
Are we talking about a laptop or an iPad?
iPad.
This is
He's
an
talking
iPad
about
for me, a
iPad.
laptop for the clerks in case. You remember when the internet was down for 2 weeks on? That's what she's referring to, so that they could take one home and
Emily was saying she had to take his home, but if he's magistrating with his, I was saying with the COVID-19, and this may be an opportunity to buy Emily.
We can get it with the COVID-19 money and you want to, I certainly don't object to it.
I'm just saying.
So, yeah, if you only have one laptop for your office and that's an issue that you ran into, then I would definitely say another laptop would be feasible for under the COVID.
Yeah, because they were sharing, from my
Yes,
understanding.
yeah, and he has a bigger office than,
I got notes.
So is Greg gonna buy those laptops?
Yes, he
or is
did.
he
Sure.
individual?
You can keep that.
No, Greg will. I'll get with MJ and talk to her about the laptop for Judge Acord. Okay, for Judge Acord.
It's a great price.
An additional
It
one
is.
for Judge.
I mean, that's a minimal expense and would make it much easier.
But let me say this, if it's cellular, you have to pay a cellular fee. So has he included the cellular fee?
Well,
That's-
He doesn't even
that's
have
the-
that.
That's the information that Greg gave me, and I hate to play dumb, but I don't know.
Well, when you have Wi-Fi, this has to connect to your home Wi-Fi. So if you don't have home Wi-Fi, then you have to have a cellular.
Well, but that's,
And if
You-
you go
when I-
off
when I-
the mention, you don't wanna connect to their Wi-Fi, cause then you're compromising stuff.
There
so-
you go.
okay, well,
Yep.
that's a question,
So I
that's a
would
great
just-
question. But
That's
Well,
what
that might be one you want to
but
answer.
I know, I saw a lot of people at the conference that were doing that.
Well, that would be public Wi-Fi. You don't want to connect to public Wi-Fi, which is what he's saying.
Especially if you've got county information on there, court information on there, anything like that, so.
I'm sorry, anything else?
Well, yes, I'm confused because are we doing the laptop instead of the iPad or?
No, ma'am, I was just
It was
saying,
in addition to.
I was talking different.
He was talking iPad and laptop.
So if you're trying to get the documents, couldn't you download them on your laptop though, or you couldn't?
I don't know. I didn't.
You can do, yeah, you can do the same thing, cause a lot of judges do,
But if
some
I-
of them will bring
if I
a small
take-
laptop, some of them will bring an iPad. But like he says, you go to these schools and they print off their coursework, I mean, you can print it off, they put it there and you know, you have to carry your binder around
Right.
like that, and so a lot of people have gotten to where they just download them and bring them on their laptop or on their iPad, and then they can make the notes on there, and that sort of thing, so.
Right, that's.
But if he's traveling with an iPad, is what I was trying to explain. If he's traveling with an iPad, he's getting on public Wi-Fi.
Either one, you travel with a laptop or
It
an
wouldn't go on my laptop
iPad.
too. It'd have to work on.
Unless he
Wi-Fi.
has a hotspot,
Right, either one would work.
and it's not gonna download very well.
Either.
Well, not only that, but you couldn't travel very well with a hotspot. I mean, where are you gonna plug it in that conference room?
No, I'm saying on your phone, like
Yeah,
you,
you just lay your cell phone down there, turn your hotspot on your phone and use it.
Okay, I'm sorry, the hotspot we have at the house is a separate box, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, these are portable and they run off a battery, but you can charge them.
And usually you can charge them in your computer, right, in your laptop. Okay, so clarify, what am I putting a laptop?
A laptop on the COVID, and I'll talk to Greg about the iPad.
Jesse, didn't the elections office get rid of a bunch of hotspots?
No, they turn theirs on and off during the,
Election cycle.
elections.
Yeah, no, I knew that. I thought she had told me that they had replaced them with something else, maybe not.
no, they do what they suspend services for so long.
They suspend them,
They
yes.
turn them on and off for election.
I'm sorry?
Don't you have a candy phone?
Yes. I have a camera cell phone.
All right, JP
That's
Technology
pretty small to
Fund,
Look at for all that stuff.
33.
How would you use that as your hotspot?
Oh,
If I'm-
okay, well, again, you've already went above my head on this IT business, I'll have to watch.
If I'm right, it starts on page 42, goes on page 43,
Who we talking about, sir?
the JP Technology Fund.
Page 43?
Get a printout on the other.
Starts on 41 and goes to page 42. Excuse me, starts on 42 and goes to 43. So is there an overall, looking at this, is there an overall technology fund, or is it divided by there's JP1, JP2,
So,
JP3?
It's only one file.
it's only one fund. We broke it in 3 different departments for
Yeah.
each JP. Before, we had it split up, I think you guys kind of discuss, if one needs more than the other, y'all discuss it and work it out and agree to that. So if you look in our CAFR, it's JP Technology Fund as a whole, and that would be their fund balance.
Okay.
How much is our fund balance at this point?
At this point, your fund balance
Is that the 81?
The fund balance is in your other booklet. Your spiral over there.
JP Technology, at the end, our audited fiscal year 2019, it was 19,000. Now, keep in mind
So about
that,
2,000 a year, it increases 3 funds.
maybe for your specific, what you bring in, but usually it's around 8,900. But that, between total, all three of you guys. But this is, the 19 is what was audited at fiscal year 2019, and then you have expenditures for 2020, which I think our expenditures for 2020 matched y'all's revenue, if I'm not mistaken. 33, okay, no, it went over. 16.
Well, for the most part.
$7,000, so we budgeted $7,000 more in expenditures than what we're anticipating on y'all bringing in, and y'all may bring in even less.
Oh, it's gonna be
because of-
less, I can tell you.
Yeah, I can
Right.
promise you it will be this time.
Yeah, so we're gonna reduce this fund balance, so you might as well maybe $10,000 by the end of this year or so, because you're still gonna have those expenses because that was your Hill Country
Right.
expenses, so those are gonna be
Well, I guess it will be
Well-
2021 before we're implemented into the Hill Country program.
That
I mean, we're out.
January anyway, I think, yeah.
I think it's, we budgeted 6 months of Hill Country and 6 months of LGS is how we budgeted. If that's incorrect, please let us know.
Well, and the LGS went up, expense went up considerable of what Hill Country was, didn't it?
Yes, it's more.
So where is, question on the magistration? Because originally, that video magistration was gonna come out of this technology fund.
It's COVID.
It's gonna come out of
Come out of
COVID. Now,
COVID.
what about next year? What are we?
Okay, so y'all, we were trying to figure out what your annual cost would be for that. Do you guys have any idea of what the annual cost? Because it's not gonna be the same cost as us implementing purchasing and all of that, but you do have an annual subscription, I believe, to that.
Are you talking about video magistration?
Yes,
We,
yes.
Greg,
Greg has that
I
information. yeah.
thought, he told me it was 9,000 and something, if I'm not mistaken, but that's been almost 8 or 9 months, 10 months ago, so.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that's something that I think we need to look at, because I know what the cost of our software is going up to.
yeah.
Then we're doing the video magistration, right?
and
Well,
our
technology
fund will
fund ain't gonna,
support both.
it's not gonna support it, so.
No, so the LGS is currently coming out of general, so the county is gonna be paying for that. It's coming out of Greg's budget.
Okay.
So the magistrate, I'm hoping that your technology fund will be able to handle that. And it should, I mean, if your courts, you're anticipating having more courts, right? Which will then increase those fees, and we're budgeting $9,000 almost of income.
Do you know
So your
what,
annual expense for magistrate is
But I
$9,000.
can- I can
This
tell you
Joe,
what our
do you know what the
ticket
cost
was.
is gonna be on video magistration
Yeah,
annually?
what we determined.
Nobody's being stopped, so we don't.
Yeah,
Gonna be down.
yeah, this year, but not next year.
Hey, excuse me.
And in the first year, we're looking at 7,200 or whatever, but that's coming out of COVID, so we need to know what the budget in the following years, once we have that established. So if you could find that number,
Don't you think we're gonna get to them?
Let me know.
You want me to take?
thank you.
Which one you got? One.
He doesn't know what the annual fee's gonna be, but he's gonna make a call and call me right back.
But maybe I can check later. I don't have to listen.
Weren't we also looking, Jesse, at the 3 JP technology funds for spending some of that money in Judge Underwood's courtroom in the new facility?
Okay, so you have yes, but you have several items, I guess, to think about, because if the magistrate is gonna have an annual, cost of $7,000 to $9,000, then we need to look at maybe leaving some of that one,
Sure.
to help offset what we're gonna take away from it this year, but then two, to be able to pay for that every year. You could use that technology fund to pay for.
So it'd be
your-
self-funding.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So you may not want to go down that route, because it doesn't sound like by the end of this fiscal year that they're gonna have very much, in their fund balance.
And Judge, not stepping any toes, but if you're gonna continue magistrating, are you gonna kick in a little out of your budget to pay for video magistrating, or we just gonna take it all out of the JPs?
The benefit that I'm giving you guys with your weekend off, y'all are gonna continue to
That's the
pay
cost
for
of
it.
it.
That's right.
Well,
Judge, there are no free rides in Grimes County.
Your Honor, I respectfully disagree. You know, we still get called when it's not our week yet, but thank you so much.
But no, Judge Underwood and I talked about this, we have Judge Gruner, of course not, she's with the city of Navasota. And if she was to come on board and wanted to, what's she gonna kick in? I mean, it's just something we need to think about, who all the users are gonna be contributing to paying for it.
If they want to participate and
If they want to
aid us,
participate, they may.
yes, we want to captivate that.
Yeah.
But I don't generate any capital.
Well, we need to look into that.
you do with general, is what they're saying.
I'm sorry? No, but the activities that I participate in, I don't generate any capital. Do I?
Your Honor, you need to increase the fines.
I don't establish any fines.
And not
Because
one-time
Judge
served.
Gruner does the Class Cs for Navasota. And
Right.
so the Class Cs that I magistrate just get referred to your courts, do they not?
Elsie, who is this?
No,
Yeah,
so
sure.
you give them time served.
Right.
Okay. Now, the
I ain't
municipal-
saved in his phone.
Municipal, you give them PR bond and
Yep, okay.
10 days to
Gotcha.
report to her. But ours, you do either fine them or give them time served.
Okay.
They're in our deputy court.
So we're giving them time served and start charging them, is what he's saying.
Get his fine rate up right. Mary-
Yeah.
Mary understood that.
There goes time served. Okay. Well, I don't think y'all need to wait around for Greg's return call on that. Y'all have anything else? I mean, we got time. Our next one's not till 11 o'clock.
Well, I've
Okay,
texted three constables to
Did
see
you?
if they could come about 10:30.
Your Honor, there's 4 in jail this morning. Help me out there.
I can do
That's
that.
cool.
All right, sir.
I
Thank you,
just-
thank you,
Thank y'all
gentlemen.
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate what y'all do very much.
We appreciate y'all's indulgence.
Thank you. I just thought we'd see if they were
Yeah,
available early.
no, sure.
So, Miss Constable Sharper say he'll head this way. It'll take him 30 minutes to get here. I don't think I've heard from anybody else yet. West Mail says, Jarvis and I are headed to y'all now. Okay, so,
Thank you. Mary, did you or Jesse have any ahas over the weekend in regards to the budget? No?
No, she was celebrating her birthday, so I don't think she even thought about it. I really didn't either. I actually spent time with my family. We don't get enough time together, because I work, most of the time, I work 12 to 14 hours a day.
You should be more efficient.
I have to work when the phone's not ringing.
I'm gonna put this workshop at recess until any of the constables show up. The time is 10:16. This is Grimes County Commissioners Court Workshop. We are back from recess. The time is 10:24. We are moving the schedule just a little bit. We have Constable Jarvis here. So we're now going to discuss Department 444. thank you for being flexible.
Yes, sir.
I'll have to repeat this for Dale when he gets here, but Constable Mail and Constable Jarvis, just so to make you familiar, we're looking at a little bit of a new format with our new software provider, but I think you'll find, once you get used to it, you'll like it. At the top, it shows the elected officials' salary, and then below that, if you have any other personnel, it breaks it out instead of clumping them all together. So it's fairly easy to identify your personnel. Also, when you get down to the insurance is slightly reduced because Grimes County, we stayed healthy this year, so the insurance company has reduced our insurance cost for next year. The auditors thought we worked very hard this year at 2096 hours, so they reduced our hours for next year to 2088 versus the normal 2080 hours, if all of that makes sense. They actually had nothing to do with it, but that's the number of hours that we're working in 2021 is 2088 hours will be our normal year. Salary overtime, Constable Jarvis, you don't have any overtime registered or requested, so we're going to leave it at that. We'll go down to operating. You don't have any office supplies?
No, mine starts operating supplies.
Okay. Operating supplies, we have $500. What's probably going to fall into that?
Probably qualification, ammo, targets, just the mandated
Okay.
qualifying that we have to do every year.
Postage.
I haven't spent any so far, but we also, we got an email from, I guess, March, not spending money, so I was waiting until, later on
Okay.
this budget to spend some.
All right. Well, if you can, spend it in this year's budget versus
Yes.
next year's budget. Postage is $150.
That's probably close.
Rentals and contracts, at 60 is probably your post office box.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you move over to the new, you're gonna have an office in the new building, are you not?
Yes, sir.
Are you going to be acceptable to have, at that time, your mail delivered in a general delivery?
I'm assuming so. I don't know how.
That's kind of the plan, that we're gonna have it delivered to HR and then have some postal boxes in there that people can go and pick up their mail. I guess for privacy or confidentiality of the type of mail that you would handle, is that an issue?
No, sir. The only thing that I get every once in a while is certified letters from attorneys. As long as somebody can sign for them, assuming that's fine.
Okay. If that works for you, I'm sure it works for us. Repairs and maintenance on vehicles, $3,000.
I have 3 vehicles, so I'm assuming that's probably.
Okay, yours,
I mean, that's cutting it close. I think my budget's pretty slim. Jimmy has a new vehicle. The other 2 are old. The one that Deputy Bewley drives, the bailiff, is a hand-me-down, but it's just basic getting to and fro. Not very,
not much road transportation?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And mine is older too, but it's still working, so.
Okay. When do you think you'll be requesting vehicle replacement?
I was actually going to request one this year, but I knew with the circumstances, I was gonna hold off and make do this year, maybe next year.
Okay. One thing I did not share with you, we're trying to shut down a $700,000 gap
Correct.
on our budget. And part of that is, we don't know what our revenues are going to be with this pandemic. We know sales tax is going to go down. We've already seen a reflection of that. And then also we have the 3.5% tax cap that's coming out of Austin. And we're not sure how that's going to reflect. It's not going to be in a positive way as far as cash flow. So right now we're budgeting with numbers from last year for the most part, and we're not going to have certified numbers this year until July the 25th. So, and I don't expect the tax collector to say, hey, we found an extra $3 million, and if they did, that would be great. But because of that, We're not discussing any salary increases for anybody at this time. So anyway, 3,000 on repairs and maintenance. On your fuel cost, you're at 5,000 there.
Yes, sir.
You only spent $212.18. I guess that's because you were riding on the sheriff's ticket and he didn't know it.
Yeah, that's
But he does now that you're recorded.
no, but there was a glitch on the card, because you know at the sheriff's office we use it's almost like credit card, but it's
Right.
somehow it wasn't coded right or something.
Convenient glitch.
Yeah.
And you kept yours from when you worked for him, is that what it was?
Come on. Never confirm nor deny.
Seriously, do you think that 5,000 is gonna be a good number? Because even your expenditures this year, and I know,
$2 a gallon on gas, divided by 5, that's,
2,500 miles.
no, 2,500.
Oh.
2,500 gallons of gas,
Gotcha.
so that's
All right.
probably pretty close.
All right. Fair enough. We'll leave it there for now. Dues and subscription, $75.
Yes, sir,
Does that cover your association fees?
that's my association.
That is?
Yes,
Okay.
It's $75 every year.
All right. Uniforms, $1,000.
That's probably close.
Okay. That's for 3 people.
Yes, sir.
Cell phone, air card, we have you at 1,800. Do all 3 of you have cell phones?
No, sir.
Who
I'm the
all?
only one who has a phone, and Jimmy has the air card. Deputy Bewley has his own phone, and Jimmy has his own phone.
All right. Travel and conference, we only have $500 there.
Yes, sir. We also have Leo's funds too.
Okay. Tires and tubes, 1,500, that's about 2 sets.
Yes, sir.
Machinery and equipment, nothing requested there.
No, sir. I mean, I have 2,000 in our account. No problem. I didn't request any, but.
What do you mean you have 2,000 in your account?
This year's budget.
My budget is for 2,000.
For this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you use it, that's great. If you don't use it, it goes back into general fund.
Right.
Well, he did
But-
request in his request, he did request 2,000.
Sorry?
He did request 2,000 in his request.
You're saying, I'm not saying don't put it at 0. You're saying put it at 0?
Well, I'm saying it is at 0.
Cause that's what basically,
Is it a computer or something that you're requesting?
You have it in front of you, what's on the preliminary budget, the very last column. That is what is currently in the preliminary budget.
Oh, no, well. I guess I was, with what Commissioner's saying, I was requesting that my 2,000 back, what I had, I guess, last year.
Yeah, well, that's not what it says. I mean, if you use it this year, you're good. If you don't use it this year, it goes back into the general
And
fund.
you're saying it's gonna be 0 for next year?
That's correct, unless you're requesting 2,000 for next year.
That's what I was requesting.
Okay.
When we had our phone conversation,
I thought that's what I said in my phone
is that
call.
what you said?
No, we tried to confuse you to get it to 0. We did a good
Somebody
job.
did. Because I thought I put on there.
It says 2,000 on the request, but you weren't raising it.
What are
I was
your?
not raising it or increasing it, I was trying to. keep it the
Okay,
same.
well, all right, if you have the impression, I budgeted 2,000 this year, I'm not gonna use it this year, it's gonna go to next year, that's the wrong impression.
No, that's not my impression. My
Okay.
impression is, for machine and equipment, it is, and law enforcement just says, like this right now, this thing broke. Coming on, putting it on together today, you know, we have equipment that it's kinda like, I see us almost like farmers. Every time stuff breaks and I gotta replace it.
Okay, so you wanna put $12 for machinery and equipment?
do you see any machinery needs
What I'm
this
saying,
year?
equipment, what I'm saying, not machine,
Equipment.
equipment is in law enforcement with 3 deputies, stuff breaks.
$2,000.
And I
Not that
can't-
much money for equipment.
No.
And I can't,
No, but I'm having fun giving him a hard time for the next few minutes.
I don't know when
Yeah,
stuff
but you're
might
making
break.
him nervous, so he's got a gun. And this is
I'm not nervous. I just thought I had 2,000, and I was like, well, I'm going from 2,000 to 0, that,
All right, Jesse, would you put 2,000 in there,
that
please?
things break, and I can't prevent it.
We're going the wrong way in this conversation, but we're gonna add 2,000 in there. All right. Salary hourly traffic officer, that's
Those are
zero.
repeated, the 800,
Those
those 8,000 numbers.
Yeah, okay. So that's it.
Now,
Once we get to the 8,000 numbers, we disregard those.
are we gonna talk about his LEOS account?
Is it good to talk about, does he have an individual LEOS?
Yes.
Okay. What page is that on, please?
53.
5-3.
It's at the bottom of the page.
So am I looking at the wrong numbers? You have $795 in there.
That's correct.
Okay. And what is that used for?
Training.
Okay. So when you do training, do you take it out of your LEOS first?
The truth is, a lot of our constable training, we get it for free.
Okay.
There are a few courses that we have to go out, and
But this would cover your hotel or food or stuff like that, or
I don't think it covers food.
Covers
Covers
hotel.
your course.
Course.
just the course? Okay. And then the other money would be for hotel and food and things of that sort? Okay.
My other budget, yes, sir.
All right. And that LEOS is generated from what? Fines, fees?
It's a report they have to turn in every year on an annual basis. It's based off of how many full-time employees are within that office. And then they calculate a month, like all the other entities that turn it in, the other counties that turn it in, and just give us an amount.
Oh, to have a distribution on that, okay.
Yes.
So the only two full-time employees is yourself and Jimmy, correct? Okay. And Jimmy, and
We
Jim-
all have to have the mandated training, but a lot of our training we try to do where it's free. A neighboring county a lot of times puts it on and we drive back and
let me
forth.
take you back to Jimmy. He's got all the equipment he needs for truck traffic and weights and measure and all that.
Yes.
But has he had the training?
He has had part of the training, but not all of it.
Okay, how are you gonna cover the rest of his training?
Some of that is it's free training too.
Okay, okay.
A lot of our training, believe it or not, on law enforcement, a lot of it is, the other agencies put it on and we get to attend and it's free.
Do you
Most
know-
of the time it's just transportation, just getting to them.
Do you have any idea when he'll get the rest of that training?
Right now, there's no training for law enforcement until all this COVID stuff,
Okay.
I guess, clears up.
Because I know the reason we put him on staff to begin with
Yes, sir.
was to do the
And
truck
we're
traffic.
enforcing everything, it's just there's a little piece of it that's, that you can't enforce,
Okay.
but we're working through all that.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions?
Because if y'all want to hear the example where I got all y'all in front of me, real quick, just so everybody's clear, in 2019, we made, well, somebody got to get a calculator out. I can tell you what we collected in fines in 2019.
Okay,
$22,409 and $51,639 have been collected in fines.
74,000.
That the total fines that we did was $30,223.90 and $81,128.10. That was the total number of fines. But as far as what we collected was that other number
Okay.
for 2019 only.
So you issued fines,
We
but you
issued the total of
collected.
that, but what we collected, and that's not I collect, it's what the JPs collect.
Okay, it's what JP's, because JP has to enforce what,
Yes, yes. ma'am. But if that's any.
but yes, it's
It's showing that
interesting.
we're working, if that
Okay.
helps.
But you issued, what was the total again?
The total that we issued was $81,128.10
Mm-hmm,
plus, because I got two sheets for whatever reason, $30,223.90. So you add those two together, that's what we issued
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
for the year of 2019.
okay.
And then what we've collected is the other number, so 22,409.20. And $51,639.
Now, when we talk about 19, do we still anticipate collecting some of this?
Yes, so as of today's dates, we could still be collecting from 2019. I just can only run a report from year to year.
Does MBVA, do they collect those fines for us?
No. Now, that is a alternative that the county can utilize that people, so right now, not to get on a crazy tangent,
We got time.
but if the JP's office, and that's something that y'all have to talk to them, because all we do is we go out and enforce the actions, give it to JP, their job is to collect it. So if somebody say, if you get a traffic stop right now and you get a ticket for whatever reason, no insurance, and you say, I'm not coming to court, I'm not gonna pay us. Well, the JPs will not issue a warrant for your arrest. What they do is they turn it over to the Omni system, which affects your driver's license. So you can't get your driver's license renewed until you pay your ticket. Well, some people pay it and get their driver's license renewed, but then there's a lot of people that their driver's license expired and they're not getting renewed, so we never collect it. Now, the McQuarrie Law Firm, who does our delinquent taxes for the county, that's a service they do offer. And I've actually advised Harry that he probably needs to come and contact y'all one day and present it to Commissioner's Court. I don't know what he charges. It's a fee, obviously, for them to go out and do it, but I think it works that we, the county, don't pay the money up front. It's a percentage of what they collect.
Right.
They collect for the JPs.
They do already?
I don't, you sure? Because Harvey told me that he's not part of
Yeah.
Grimes County.
Yeah, they do collect.
Yeah, because they're at the office sometimes.
Yeah, MBVO.
I thought they did.
McQuarrie,
Yeah.
Vaselka. Are you talking about McQuarrie?
Yeah, McQuarrie.
McQuarrie, Vaselka, and,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they collect for the county.
Really? Because he's the owner of the company, or the law firm. He told me he's not part of Grimes County.
Well,
Who
he
told you
needs to
that?
Go check his contacts.
The owner?
I was talking to Keith.
Well, he must not be working very hard for Grimes County.
Right.
If he don't even know he's on the payroll,
Well, Keith,
We might need to talk.
Keith will know.
yeah, he'll know, but it's a
Yeah, I
different.
meeted with Keith too, and I told Keith about it. Keith said, "Hey, that's a great idea. I need to get involved
Keith
in
didn't
that."
know.
Well, they have a different representative though,
They do.
at
Anyway.
JP office.
So,
It's a different guy.
can we
Yeah,
still collect
right.
more? I guess that's was the original question. Can we collect more for 19? Absolutely. We can collect from 18. We can collect from 17. It's just, I guess, whenever people pay or their driver's license or whatnot.
Okay.
So 19, 20 is probably going to be a little awful numbers because obviously for 3 months we've kind of been social distancing part
Well,
of
and
it.
the governor gave a period of time for expired
That part
inspection and,
But even with us on traffic, with the social distancing across the nation, I think a lot of officers have not even been pulling over people because of trying to deal with this COVID deal.
Okay.
So same with us. But I just wanted to let y'all know that we are working and we're out there on the roads. We also helped Road and Bridge administer the permit process, and we helped enforce that to go out in the roads that are permitted for the companies to go down. I think we will do a lot of that. We even also take a step further, and for only one man, I want to pat myself on the back, that's why I'm here to tell everybody.
Go ahead.
Is because I think we do a lot of work out there for one man, and,
Well, if you don't toot your own horn.
right, somebody's got to do it.
Something we still want to explore with you though is garbage, people violating, just throwing garbage on the side of the road. So we can't enforce it. We don't have an officer
Give
there.
me a second, let me talk to you here in a minute about that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We don't have an officer right now to enforce it from the garbage side, but if we did, they could go to JP Court too, and it could be collected there.
Correct. Any other questions,
that's good.
comments, concerns?
And y'all could talk to Emily, she'll tell you who the representative at MBVA
Thank y'all.
is.
If y'all have to cut, please, my budget is very minimal. Don't be too bad on our,
You'll be back in front of us when we cut, if we cut.
thank y'all.
Okay?
Okay, Mr.
You're
Sharp.
welcome to stay to see what we do to Constable Sharple.
Cut his budget.
Come on in, Constable.
Are you ready?
They got paper for you over
Give him
there.
a pay raise.
What's his number?
He's
442.
442, page 22.
442.
Yes.
22.
His is at the bottom of page 24 and, nope,
22.
sorry.
Page 22.
He's up, yeah.
You were not here for my opening spiel, so I'm gonna give, it's not your fault.
Okay.
I'm gonna give the opening spiel one more time. One, the court is currently looking at the preliminary budget that I presented to them, and they're trying to overcome, we are trying to overcome a $700,000 deficit. So I did not give them a balanced budget to work with. So even though we've had telephone conversations and tried to trim budgets down, we're still not there. You are looking at a little bit of a different format than what you've looked at in the past in regards to the budget, but I think you'll see that it's a little bit nicer that, of course, you don't have any staff, is that correct?
No, sir.
And the only person that's listed on the salary is your salary. But in the past, for other elected officials, it'd have all of their hourly employees scooted together and their salary employees scooted together. But now we've broken it out job by job by job. So it's a little bit easier to identify. One of the things that you'll notice, or you may or may not, but your insurance cost has gone down. We didn't expend what we could have expended on insurance. We were healthy this year. So as a result, our insurance has gone down ever so slightly. One thing that is to be noticed is that this year we're working with 2096 payroll hours. Normally we work 2,080. This year we're working at 2,088. And whenever the auditors see fit to put us back on a normal work year, then we'll go to that. But all of those numbers have been figured into what you're looking at, so you don't have to do any of that math. Jesse Murphy has taken care of all of that. So I'd like to bring you down to your line 4308.
You're looking at the last column.
I'm sorry?
I was, telling.
Oh,
Operating supplies.
At the very-
Yeah, 4308, and that number, as we look across the line, is at $750.
Yes, sir.
In 18, you spent 461. In 19, you spent 1,096. And this year, you're proposing to spend 750. Do you feel like that's a pretty reasonable number?
I think I can live with that.
Okay. Can you live with less?
No.
Well, even this year you spent 875, so.
Sir?
Even this year you spent 875.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of confused with what we're doing here today. I thought we'd already gone over this when you.
Yeah, I beat you up once. This is,
Yeah.
but the commissioners haven't had the opportunity to throw spears at you.
If you want to beat me up some, I mean,
So-
I probably should never just give money away. It's
No.
not budget hearing, but I did request $7,000 for machinery and equipment this year. That was just, when you and I spoke last time, that was pretty much an arbitrary figure because I had 37,000 last year, but I did get the vehicle. That money could be spent on my docking station for my MDT. I had one, but with the new car, it won't fit in there. And so that's, if there's any play in my budget, that's where it is. I hate to give it all up because you never know what happened. I mean, I got a brand new car, and already someone has ripped my door handle off trying to get someone I had the back seat. So that's $500. That wasn't even budgeted anywhere that I had to pull out to fix my door handle on my new car.
He was a strong person.
Man,
I said that had to be a strong person.
yeah, he ripped it plumb off.
Well, if you'll allow us, let's just work down the list
Oh,
of numbers,
sure,
okay?
sorry.
That's all right. So operating supplies is $750. Your postage, you're setting, you requested $250?
Yes.
And you use well, that'll be in rentals, but, Because you do have a PO box that you utilize, do you not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Repairs and maintenance of vehicles, that's at $500. Is that for the doorknob?
And that's already gone. You know, if that was, is that what I spent?
No, that's what you requested for 21.
Yeah, you spent $1,100.
So is that a good number for, do you think? Repair and maintenance for your vehicle for 2021? $500?
As long as no one rips another door handle off, yeah, that'd be.
Okay,
I mean, it's a new car.
Yep.
It should be everything under warranty, so I shouldn't have very many repairs and maintenance.
gotcha. 3,500 on your fuel?
Yes.
Dues and subscriptions, $250.
Right.
Uniforms, 400. And that's only you, correct? Right?
Yes.
All right. And on cell phone and air card, we have 480. Do you use your own cell phone or you use county
I use my
phone?
own cell phone.
Are you comfortable doing that? And I'm not trying to spend more money, but I'm just
Not
asking.
particularly, but, I mean, just, that's the way it's been for the last 16 years, so
Okay,
I can do what, I mean, I can continue to use my, but if we're in a shortfall, I mean, I'll continue to use mine, maybe next
All right.
year we can relook at it.
all right.
So do you have an air card?
I have an air card from my laptop,
Okay.
and that's, I think it's $38 a month is what I pay for that, does that sound about right?
Okay.
Constable Trevor, I had, you shared a PO box with JP1,
That's true.
so that's,
Yeah, one year I'll pay the annual rental due, and the next year they'll pay. But that's mostly for stamps, is what
the rentals and contracts, though, we have 0 put in there.
the rentals and contract.
Yes, we have 0 budgeted, so I'm assuming that'll come out of JP1.
I don't even see a rooms
I
and
don't even see
contract.
rentals.
I don't either.
Right, that's why I brought it to her attention, there's not a rules and contracts on
You
this.
told me, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I told her.
I was answering her question, I apologize. I
No,
was-
no, that's,
I said,
yeah,
"He
one
said
one
he
year
has
I
a
pay
PO
for
box,
it,
but there's nothing
Yeah.
in
the
rules
next
and
year they pay
contracts."
for it, we just take turns paying for it.
So where would it come out if you, when you pay for it?
I just find somewhere, just.
Yeah, we need to create you a line, if you are alternate. But go ahead, I apologize.
Okay, create a line and then put 0 in, because,
Yeah, if he's paying, if they're alternating years, yes.
okay. Because Judge Acord had it in his. On your tires and tubes is 1,000. You probably use a set a year, don't you?
Yes, sir.
If we pave the roads, maybe we could cut that down a little bit, but
Perhaps.
perhaps. All right, next page for us. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's where he was talking about the 7,000 at the top.
Page 23.
It's at the top of 23.
I don't have a page 23, that's my
Well,
problem.
that's good.
No, I got it. Okay. Where the heck is that at? All right, we have 7,000 on machinery and equipment. One more time, what was that? Where was that, what was that for?
That was,
Finish out,
I'm sorry.
finish out fitting your vehicle.
Yeah, that was finishing out my vehicle and things like that, but.
But do you have an estimate on?
That's
on
what
that
he was
too?
explaining earlier. He didn't
No,
really need
that,
it.
the judge was talking about it, I didn't, and I think the IT department was looking at, maybe, and things like that.
So we can kind of look, I guess, and see what that expense is.
Yeah, like I said, it was at 37,000, and I felt like it was ridiculous to ask for that amount to be continued over
Yeah.
this year, because, you know, that was for the vehicle and the equipment. And I'm not even sure if I have received all my invoices for upfitting the car, for my decals and my overhead lights and all that stuff.
Is that this year, Cole?
For this year, this year.
Did you have any IT needs? 'Cause
IT needs.
Yes, sir. I'm looking at your IT sheet. I don't see anything.
I think I'm good there.
That you
What's
said.
outfitting that docking station, right?
I'm sorry?
A docking station.
Yeah, the judge mentioned the docking station. The docking station I had for the old car will not fit in the new car, so,
Do you know what those cost?
no, and I think that was.
That was just something I passed on to Greg.
Yeah, the IT department was gonna look into that, as I understood it.
So we'd have a more firm number of what that could be then.
Okay. Anything that we overlooked, or that you overlooked?
For the Leo's fund, I mean, that's something that I get every year from the state. And there's-
Right.
It's built up, there's plenty of money there for training and education, so I don't think we need to even consider that.
Okay. You okay with that, Jesse?
Yes.
Okay.
It's behind yours. You have the Leo's.
Yeah, I see it, it looks like it was budgeted, spent, yes, but I think I
What-
spent more than that last year, but
You remember what
maybe
page it was?
it was the end of the last year. Yeah, it was not this budget year, but last year.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. And now you can save my number.
Okay, I'll do it. And was there, I heard some discussion about picking up trash or enforcing trash or something.
Legal dumping. is what
Yes,
they
sir.
call it.
We had hope when we brought in the, traffic officer.
Jimmy?
I mean, weights and permits. I was
Yeah.
trying to call it the correct thing.
Right.
That he in turn could help us with, the littering that we're seeing, dumping. If he, kind of discouraged them as he's riding our county roads. Because we didn't have the ability to enforce, people would call us and say, hey, this has this mail in it and this is the person you
Sure,
can get.
I don't know about the other council, but I enforce that on a regular basis.
Okay. But we couldn't issue any tickets. It would have to be.
Sure, could if I want to.
I mean, for us, the garbage department could not issue any tickets. We would have to have the assistance of an officer. But thank you.
But no, that's enforced on a regular. But I typically give them the opportunity, or either go pick it up or receive a citation, and 10 times out of 10, they go pick it up.
But thank you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for being flexible on your time.
I guess your next.
Constable mail. We saved the best for last.
Heard that.
Okay, we are on, page 23. Is that right?
23 and top of 24.
Top of 24. Department number 446. And thank you for being flexible on your time.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to repeat my opening salvo again?
No, I'm good. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
He's heard it twice already.
Hey, on a side note, last weekend, that was a beautiful thing in Minnesota they did. The Unity March, that was a good thing.
Thank you.
I ended up having to go out of town, wasn't able to make it there, but it was pretty. I watched it online.
Prayer is always in order.
Is it?
This coming.
No, there's another one, it's Juneteenth this week, but they did a prayer, community unity march deal and met at City Hall and did a prayer and there's some speeches.
I think we're gonna be back in Navasota at 9:30,
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning? Okay.
Friday.
Friday.
Okay,
Okay, I'm lost.
on Juneteenth, on Friday, and then I think that group or some of that group and Anderson is gonna hold one at noon?
Anderson always has a 19th of June parade.
Right,
So it's their annual parade.
right.
At
I'll have to
that time.
confirm their time, but, All right, we will start all over again. As you can see in yours, because you do have a part-time clerk, It has your salary and then that individual's salary. The insurance numbers have gone down, the work week, or work hours for the year has gone down from last year, gone up from previous years. I don't see any overtime hours projected for your office, is that correct? First one,
No overtime hours.
okay. Then we drop down to 4308, operating supplies. Why do you guys not have office supplies?
Well, we do, you know, I mean, well, it works out like, cause when you have like, where's mine, you got like postage, I mean, that's an office supply, but.
Right.
But it has its own line item. Then you have your, where's it at, well, I don't even see it on here.
Yeah, that's a good thing to
The
check. 'cause
machinery
I
and
know y'all
equipment
have
bill, unless I'm looking
office
at something
supplies.
else.
I don't see it in
Usually you have your machinery and equipment, and so, you know, some of that can, it kind of breaks the office down where you have an operating, I mean, the law enforcement side tends to be a little bit different on operating / like office supplies.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can understand that. I don't know how the auditors feel about it, but I understand it.
Well, you know, like when I took over office over the last 5 years ago, it's kind of morphed as we've done different things that wasn't done before. So they try to create a line to cover something we do and then
Right.
add something. I mean, so it keeps like, it's evolving, there we go, where I look for it. It evolves because as we get in there, then you start getting set in your ways. And so it's kind of,
So, that's a question for me. If we're monitoring like, office supplies, we talk about bulk paper all the time. Auditors, how are y'all separating that?
If you're buying bulk paper, how do you separate?
No, what I'm saying is they have actual office supplies, folders and cards and,
Yeah, I mean, we've
and
got a lot of
envelopes
stuff
and
that
all of
anybody
that,
does that.
but he's doing them out of operating supplies, not office supplies.
Right, I believe that's just how it was set up since the beginning
Law
of time.
enforcement has,
it's
for
a
the
hybrid.
most part,
There you go.
always had it as operating supplies.
Okay.
They couldn't do their job if they didn't have these things.
Okay.
But what I'm saying to you is if we're being transparent,
I was going to say, you can see.
Yeah.
So
that's
just
what
the
I'm-
consistency, if you're
Yeah.
saying there should be consistency, everyone should have an office supplies, and maybe not everyone should have an operating supplies.
Right.
Law enforcement should be the bulk of the operating and road and bridge, but they should have the office supplies as well. And we can definitely do that. I mean, we're constantly making changes, finding.
yeah, this is
things
new accounting,
So,
software, why not create it and then it,
right.
you know,
So
it's
then you
easier
can
to track.
Separate the paper, you can separate, especially if y'all think about putting in a purchasing agent in the future.
Right.
Then that would help have it more, that would make it more accurate, I guess.
Mhm.
So, yeah, definitely, if that's a request of you.
I mean, it
do
just
that.
seems odd that, you
That they
know,
wouldn't have one.
yeah.
I mean, y'all have printer paper, things of that sort, but not everybody's gonna have operating because like, Blake was saying, out of his operating would be, ammo, things of that sort.
Right, in order to operate
And,
with them.
and if the auditors had ammo listed, I'd be concerned about that.
Yeah. Does he
Well-
have an where is his office?
Who, Blake's?
Yeah.
He's in the sheriff's office right now.
Is he, okay, I know he'll be moving.
Yeah, but he's
relatively
in the sheriff's office, like where you've been in there, right? Like where the investigation department is, like down the hall to the right, the lobby.
Okay.
He's across the hall. There's a big office over there that they've always had for precinct 2.
But I've noticed, you know, I've seen over the years, his secretary working with papers and envelopes and that kind of stuff, so it would seem
Oh yeah,
unnatural.
because she calls me, because she can't go get nothing. She can order it like through, well, she don't use Precision anymore because they're not there, but she can order the stuff, but then I have to go get it because of using my credit card or whatever. But yeah, or she'll call me and say, hey, I need stamps.
But I'm just saying for clarity's sake, it seemed like if you're requesting other departments to have
Yes, I
some
can.
separation.
Yes. Very good about it. Yeah, have a note to create.
Okay.
Supply line.
And then I posted and all that goes in.
So,
All right,
no.
no.
Oh, that has to be done, cause.
Postage is its own account.
But if we create the office supply line, we need to know how much to put in that and how much to take out of operating.
See, now you're making me think too much.
Yeah, so,
Why you gotta bring it up now? Why didn't you do this earlier? Y'all could've had it figured out by the time I got it.
Well, you
could've
could
jumped
at
on
least
Blake
say
like that. I
100.
could've jumped on Blake.
You could at least say
Yeah, she
100
was
and
first, we
just,
should have had him in there.
Let's-
It's all this has been done.
Let's put 100 in office supplies and leave 200 in operating supplies, so the amount's still the same.
he had 500.
500.
Oh, 500?
It's about 100 and 400.
All right. I was looking at postage,
So
300.
basically, by looking at this real quick, and I know I'm jumping off the line of which, you know, how you're going. So the original stuff of which I've requested, I guess all that has been completely cut back, correct?
Well, you had asked for your part-time to go to full-time.
Yeah, and
That
then,
was not submitted. You submitted, it was not included.
right.
what do you mean?
You asked for your part-time person to go
Yeah,
to
then I was
full-time.
asked for a deputy, right,
Well, we have not included,
that into this.
that's correct.
Okay,
That's, because as I said, we're still the $700,000 short.
gotcha.
And we won't know what our,
Well, yeah, and that's what I was looking, and I was like, well, this
this is
is
until,
not the numbers that I remember seeing, but
yeah.
I was going off of it for a minute. I was gonna let it go and see if it got to that.
All right. So
So
we're,
I don't even, just, and I apologize, so those numbers, as far as the reasoning and things of that, is not gonna be something that's gonna be brought up at this time. So this is just a
You-
normal,
you can, I mean, you can say, I'm so dadgum mad at this for not having my part-time to
Well, I thought
full-time.
that's what I
And I'm
was-
so mad that
well, I'm
my,
not mad. I thought that was what we were doing today,
I mean,
to,
you can-
basically to reasoning or
you
to
can share your-
why we're doing that.
you can share your reasoning why you submitted it.
Okay, well, we'll go through this, and then once
All right.
we get to that, then I'll say of why I asked for
Okay.
this or asked for that, or what have you.
Your postage is at 300, and looks like you've used, well, in 18 you used 338, and in 19 you used 244, so you're in the ballpark with 300. Your repairs and maintenance on vehicles is at 1,500. Your fuel is at 2,500, and you only have the one vehicle in your department,
Yes,
so.
so when you made your, okay, I got it, I see it.
Dues and subscriptions at 95. Uniforms, 400. You go through yours faster than Dale.
no,
What, Dale, didn't you have 300?
I had 400.
Oh, did you? Okay. Cell phone, air card is 1150, and you do have a county cell phone.
county cell phone, and I have a air card in my MDT and my Toyota.
Okay. That's more than reasonable. Travel and conferences, you don't have anything there.
Well,
And I know a lot of what y'all get is free, but
I did,
we didn't take it out, did we, Jesse? I mean, you
because
didn't.
usually the travel and
He didn't have
conferences is
any.
used for
Last year.
the civil seminar. That's usually at, it's an annual deal. They do it like three or four different places. The one I usually would go to is for your civil updates and things of that nature. Plus you can take your, which I was gonna do it this year, but I'm not gonna be able to, is your proficiency in civil law. It's usually in Galveston. And so that's what I use that for every year. And then I revert it back to my Leos for,
Okay.
for like my conference, for the JPCA and things like that.
So your Leos usually covers that.
He asked for
But-
$2,500.
Yeah, that was, that, and I asked for that based off the results of requesting a deputy due to the first year of getting the civil certifications and everything. He's gotta have the bailiff security deal and all that. He has to have all that stuff prior to enforcing any civil laws or doing civil service.
So in,
Process, there we go.
he
So for
re-
your training.
A lot of mine is free, like Blake was talking about, like, because it's coming up now, and I think, Dale, are you on the same cycle like now, is like, our next year, we're gonna have to go to Sam for a whole week?
I just.
Or you already did yours? Mine's coming up where in the first, like, 3 or 4 months of next year, I've gotta go to Sam Houston for a full week, but that's all completely covered. The only thing we're gonna pay for will be, basically, is my salary, obviously, and then my fuel going back and forth to Sam Houston for a week. but that's for your continuing education for constables. It's, for us, it's completely free, it's paid for by the state. And then, we do have to pay something out of that, starting as of, I guess it was 2 years ago. Now we have to pay for parking on Sam Houston, grounds. We have to pay parking, that's crazy.
You had 325 in there for 2020, is that correct?
So.
For the travel and conferences,
That's how much you spent.
Or what is that?
I haven't spent any, because we hadn't went anywhere this year.
What is that?
Everything got canceled. So like, there's been nothing come out of Leos, there's nothing come out of travel and conferences, because all of our stuff got canceled.
So-
May 18th, Judge, that on one of our meetings on May 18th, that's when we changed the fuel, the uniforms, the cell phone, and the travel and conference. My note is 0 to travel and conference because of the use of Leo's.
Leos,
fund.
right.
Yes.
That's, well, he was asking if we changed it, so I just wanted to.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then your expenditures that show for that, because it does show a usage of 300 and something.
325.
Travel and conferences?
I'm getting it, just 1 second.
I'm not saying do that.
325 for this year.
Well, remember, that's October of 19.
And that's what I'm trying to think of what I did.
So it looks like Citibank, just in April, you spent $300.
This year? Ah,
Yes.
yes, that is correct. That is supposed to be refunded. That was when because you have to charge it to your account or your credit card when you're booking for the JPCA conference. So that's all, Heather has all the receipts and everything from that, and they've refunded, what was it they refunded a certain amount, but they hadn't refunded the whole amount, and I don't know why, so I gotta get a hold of JPCA. So that's what that's from. That's when I was booking, no, it can't be from April.
And normally what we're trying to cut down on are the number of budget amendments and line item transfers.
Right.
We'll put it back in their budget if it comes to a point where they actually need it. If there's money, like at all the conferences, they pretty much shut down for the remaining of the year.
Yeah, all those are,
So even if you did receive the $300 back, we wouldn't take it before court to put the money back in there because they're not gonna need to spend it.
Right.
And stuff, so that's what we're trying, used to, we bring them all before court all the time. There's no, we kind of assess it and then we contact the departments and go from there.
Okay.
So that's.
so yeah, there was a conference that I did pay for prior to everything shutting down and stopping. And then obviously it all got canceled, so all that stuff is supposed to be, so if it's showing a usage, I did use it, but it's supposed to be refunded back to the county.
Gotcha.
And of course, I don't see that, so that's,
So what number do you need there for yours, you know, in the event that later on we find out there's money and investigate?
Well-
You need the other, but what, instead of the 2,500?
well, the 2,500 is what I penciled in, so to speak, for like, for me. And because the civil school that you go to that is hosted in Galveston and it's hosted, like I said, a couple other places, that one's not free. That, I mean, you're gonna have to pay for it. But it's a requirement that we have to have.
What's that?
So that was part of the deal, that was part of the, basically revising or re-educating and continue educating on my part for me, and then having a full-time deputy to go to be certified, plus it would cover the hotels, and to actually take Megan as a clerk, to have her certified as a certified civil clerk. Because she does do the civil stuff and talk to lawyers and things all day long, as well as dealing with civil information that she has to handle. So that was in regards to just basically a one-time pop for all that.
So you're looking at probably at least 2/3 potential for you and your clerk. And then in the event that we bring on a deputy, if that discussion comes up later. That's what I'm saying, what needs to be in the budget right now.
That, and that's our,
Yeah.
that, well, for right now, it's just the, whatever it's being, the same. Because we're not using that this year, so next year, I will be going to all these schools again because it's in my cycle where I have to get all this stuff redone.
So
Like,
at 19, it was $1,100.
No, it's so
no, that's self.
Oh, never mind, $1,300.
13.
That's 1,319. No, I think that's what actually spent.
Yeah, that's what you're.
Yeah, that was actual spent, that's what you spent.
Yeah.
In 19.
That was what
You
I
had
actually
nothing,
spent.
you had nothing budgeted this year.
Now, I should have had something budgeted this year because I spent it. Unless I'm just reading this somehow wrong. So I should have had, because I have it in there every year because of,
Now, that could,
Could it be
that
that the
could be
layoffs-
the software on that, let me pull his.
it's usually like, it was usually like $300.
Oh,
What was usually in there. What's been in there since I took office was $300.
You may not have had anything budgeted, only because you may have used your Leo's funds.
Well, I tell you what I actually probably did not put nothing in it, and that might be correct, because I knew this year I didn't have to go to it this year. So I probably didn't do it because I knew I didn't have to go this year.
Yeah.
But I had to, because, it's off my cycle. I was good till next year. Next year it starts my new cycle over of having to get everything.
So what you expended in 19, that includes all the conferences
That was like everything probably.
right, that you'll need for fiscal year 2021. Because the 19 is when you had to go to all your classes. This year, you didn't have to go to all your classes,
Mhm.
and next year, you'll have to go to the same classes you did in 19.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I think in that 19, when some of that in there was, I did take Megan with me, and there was some classes that she took with me. There was, I think there was 3 half-day classes that I made her go to. They were dealing with, our office stuff, but they were set up for the clerks. So I think that's why that number is a little higher than usual, or it was higher.
so would you probably spend that again this year for the two of you?
For the 21st,
This
yes.
year, meaning 2021.
If the budget is what it is and nothing else happened, yes, that's what it'll be close to that. Close. I can't give the actual dollar.
Yeah, yeah, but if we
It'll
put
be-
12, yeah, for now.
If we put 12, then yes. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Still like 2,500, but I know.
Was it 1,200 or 13 that you spent in 19?
It was 13.75 and 2 cents.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
13, yeah, I'm still in the wrong number.
yeah, because, yeah.
So 1,400?
Okay, so it changed to 1,400.
Yep. All right. That covers it. Now, march us through why you need a deputy and why you need your part-time to go to full-time.
Before we go there, I don't think the machinery and equipment line printed on his budget.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
I think they have some kind of rule written in there that if it was 0, it wouldn't, so I'm gonna contact them about that. Do y'all want to talk about the machinery and equipment, just so you cover everything and it doesn't pop up later on down the
Did he
line?
have anything for machinery and equipment?
I don't think there was anything budgeted in the preliminary for machinery and equipment.
And your office is at the precinct 3-4, right?
Yeah, in Navasota Annex.
Right.
He's requesting a docking station.
No, yes, yes, I am. Well, the docking station
That's IT.
yeah, that was an IT, but that was set up based off the request of the deputy to have a docking station in the vehicle for MDT.
Okay, so you don't need that now?
No, I don't need it, no.
So we need to get with IT on that as well. Yeah.
And I know the situation that we're all in. This was stuff that I'd been preparing prior to all this, and so I just stayed with it and said, well, I was gonna turn it in anyways. I know the situation that everybody's in, so I just stayed with what I was already doing. And when we talked on the phone that day, and all that good stuff. So that's why those things are still there. I know everybody's gonna have to make some sacrifices for the better of the county. I realize that.
If you don't ask, you don't get, but even if you ask, you still might not get, but
It's better to ask and be told,
I'd like you to share with the court why you feel you need your clerk to go to full-time and why you need another
Well,
deputy.
to start with, I'll start with the deputy, is, so with anything else, everything is increasing. I don't know what Dale's or Blake's numbers look like, I don't ask them that much because, hey, it's their business, not mine. We talk occasionally here and there, but, my numbers have definitely increased, and I was trying to get my numbers together, to get Megan to print them out, or to give them to me prior to being here, because I thought I was gonna be here at 12. I do have some rough numbers, but obviously they're gonna be skewed due to, the last 2.5 months of me being shut down.
And when you say numbers, what numbers are you
Well,
referring to?
my numbers, it's a pile of everything together. It's everything in one, meaning, you can list things individually of saying, you can do traffic, you can do this, you can do this. So the numbers I speak of is like the service of the civil process alone, with the combined having to do court at the same time. So Blake has a little bit of a luxury in his outfit due to the fact you got him, then he's got Bewley doing bailiffing, and then you got Jimmy out there, but then in the bind, Jimmy can also bailiff if needed. Whereas Dale has to oversee his JP court, and he has to oversee Kramer's court. I oversee McKegg's court, and then I have to oversee my JP court. Well, we started keeping a track, and this is a rough number of 15, which when I say 15 times over the last year, I've had to miss one of the courts to sacrifice for another court. And majority of the time is I was sacrificing my JP to go to McKay due to the fact that there was probably more, probably a chance of more trouble happening in the district courtroom than in the JP courtroom, which is not fair to my judge when he is sacrificing me that I'm supposed to be there to protect him in his courtroom to somebody else, which I don't mind bailiffing for Judge McKay, and I've done it since day one. But when I'm missing court 15 times, and that's not even in a year yet, then, and that's just a rough number, because she has it written down or in the deal, but I was gonna get it before I got here, but I already happened to be here. So it's a rough number, so it might be off a couple. But that's a lot of times to be missing court. So that's one aspect of it with a deputy. While one's at one court, one can be at the other court to make sure they're both covered.
Does the sheriff's office not supplement you to work as a bailiff?
No.
In a court?
No.
Have you asked?
Yes, we have, in the past. Sometimes they have, sometimes they won't.
Okay.
When I first took over, I was bailiffing every court except for Kramer's. And Dale would help out as needed, because George just stopped everything.
Yeah.
So, and they got to a point where I said, enough's enough, I can't do it no more. And then that's when about the time Blake came along, he was able to get Bewley and so forth. So that's one aspect is the courtroom. And part of my job, as in the government code, I'm required by law, I have to be at JP Precinct 3 before all others. So, unless I'm excused. If Judge Lawson says you're excused, then he can excuse me, it's his courtroom.
And is that what he's been doing?
Yes. Sometimes against his better judgment. But he did say now that this new stuff has started with the COVID-19, and our courtroom is gonna have a different look to it and different measures that have been set down by the Texas Supreme Court that, well, you've been a part of them, that our courtroom is gonna look different and the process to get in there is gonna be different. But he said, I can't let you go now. You're gonna have to be here no matter what. If he's saying that, I can't leave. I gotta be there, per the government code. So that's one aspect of it is the courtroom situations. The other one is just the increase of the civil process. As of right now, of course, we're basically opening back up and getting everything coming back in. I don't have that number, and obviously it's going to be lower because there has been no papers for the last 2 months.
Right.
I don't have that number, that's one of the numbers I was missing that I was gonna get her to get before I coming up here. I can probably throw a number out as of right now. It's probably been about 350 papers, that's it. But I'm sure over the next probably 3 months, I'll probably double that, just because of being shut down. But, so some of it is the process. And then on top of that, there is other areas of this county that can be addressed that you were speaking of earlier that have never been addressed. And that was another part of the reason. So, you know, the deputy is more, that I'm requesting is more of a hybrid. When I say that, he's gonna be utilized, or would be utilized for different things. Meaning, he can be used for court, he can be used for civil process, he can be used for traffic enforcement, which as, if you look at our traffic citations, I know Blake was reading off numbers earlier, but minimal ticket's $150, a maximum ticket of $500 under Class C fines. Then your court costs, and you know some of the state gets their percentages and what have you. But if you do 5 traffic contacts a day, which you can't put a quota, but you can say contacts, meaning you're doing traffic enforcement. If you was to so happen to get 5 citations a day, you put that 5 days a week times, you know, 4 weeks a month, what all that good stuff, then you're getting, and you do it at a low base, percentage, on the lowest amount of ticket, then you're going up in the realm of $250,000 a year after the state is taking its percentage out. Now, granted, you're not gonna get that, just like he was explaining a while ago. You might get, you know, 25, 40% of it, or people not paying. But even at a percentage of that, first year, a deputy and all his equipment is paid for. Then with that, then also is somebody to do environmental code. Grimes County's never had a deputy that's been certified to do environmental code. A lot of that stuff is free for the training to get them certified. Some of them you gotta pay for, but that was also in some of the deal for the training or whatever, is to get that deputy certified in some environmental things. Because not only environmental can you write it on the state law, but there's things you can do on the federal side as well. Like with these major companies and stuff, and checking, they're dumping hydraulic fluid into the system, or into the ground, they're doing oil, any of that stuff. All that stuff can be checked, and it can be looked at by environmental certified deputy. So,
Where would your deputy have authority? Because I know that
State
the
of
constable,
Texas.
well, but
the whole county.
but you can work within the
whole
city limits of Navasota?
Yeah.
Okay.
Peace officers
Yeah.
of the state.
Well,
I mean,
I know, but we have interlocal agreements, Commissioner, with, you know, some of the other cities. And so we provide all of their services, road and bridge, and more or less the police force or deputies. And I don't know.
Yes.
And I was just asking,
So like,
do you have
half my
authority?
precinct is in Navasota, yes.
Because they have
The only
a
thing-
police department. Do
The
you
only
have the
thing I
authority?
can't do in the city of Navasota, the only thing I cannot do is enforce their city ordinances. Their officer has to affect that, or enforce that.
But
Other
are
than
the-
that, I can do anything
Are
else in
the,
Navasota.
are the
I want
speed
to.
limits within the city, are those city ordinances, or are those?
I can enforce those.
Okay.
Those would, and something like me writing a citation, or a deputy writing a citation, or a trooper writing a citation, they would go to the JP instead of to the city,
Yeah.
because it was done by a county employee. So even if you're in the city and you write a citation, it still goes to the county and not the city. So like I said, the deputy is more of a hybrid, to be utilized in multiple different ways. To do, and you can do the illegal dumping, trash, and tire dumping. Tire dumping is a big problem. And so that would be something that they could do and investigate it from start to finish. So that, and so part of the fuel, the training, and then the uniforms, everything that I proposed based off of that full-time deputy, because he would have to be then outfitted, he would then have to have a vehicle, he would have to have the equipment. So everything I proposed is based off of the influx of him. And the reasoning behind Megan going from the part-time to the full-time would be because all this stuff that he starts doing now this stuff has to be categorized, and it has to be library and it has to be stayed, up with for the state of Texas. Whether it's your body cameras, it's your racial profiling data that you got turned in, tickets that have to be done, all that stuff then has to go and be,
So do you have a turnkey number for a deputy the first year? And what I mean by that, so it'd be their salary, it'd be their vehicle, it would be their training, lock, stock, and barrel.
I had it on that proposal of mine, which I don't have it with me.
I think it's about 113.
There is a solid set number.
113,000, 45 for the vehicle, 40 for the deputy, and 28 for moving the secretary full-time. At least that's what he has listed here.
And then vehicles on the other sheet.
Yeah, there was,
Yeah,
a-
it's on here.
It's on here?
Good top.
you gotta read my messy handwriting.
Okay.
And I have a sneaky suspicion if everybody fill out their census like they're supposed to, when they do come out, that our precinct, 3 and 4, is gonna show a huge increase in population. And that's another fact to look at, is because there's 4 precincts in this county. I cover 2 of them. I have the highest populated area, highest populated precincts in this county. I think Dale has the highest land mass as far as the area. Probably got the best roads too, huh?
That number
But
doesn't.
as far as the population, I think, huh? But as far as population, I serve a greater number of citizens.
We'd have to add.
And I'm not complaining about it, I love my job, I love what I do. It's steadily growing, the workload is steadily increasing, that's all it
fuel.
is.
So, can I ask you a few questions?
Ask away, if I got an answer, I'll tell you, if I don't, I'll allow it.
Absolutely.
So you cover 2 precincts, 3 and 4.
Yes, sir,
You have Highway 6,
yes, sir,
the proposed, portions of the proposed 240, or the highway that will be constructed, 249,
yes,
105,
yes.
90, Highway 90, and 3090. Do you have any idea how many cars go up and down those every day?
No clue.
Okay.
I mean, the Highway 6 alone is, everybody's gonna know that, that's a massive, it's heavily traveled.
So I've heard some figures, but I can't quote them. So another area that you have in your 2 precincts, we have 5 schools in your precinct, correct?
Yes,
And so that would indicate that there's probably the biggest number of students that travel on buses on bus routes, correct?
yes,
And we've had problems with vehicles disregarding busing laws pertaining to school buses, right?
every year, it's a big problem.
And so you also have 2 prisons that you have to service in addition to the remainder of the population, correct?
Yep, 2 prisons, a PAC unit, Luther unit, which are my biggest headaches.
But how do you, excuse me, Commissioner, how do you service those PAC units?
So everything you do in the free world, meaning I go to somebody's house, I serve them divorce papers, I serve them child support, serve them tax papers, I serve them termination, everything I serve in the free world,
You
I
have to
serve in
serve
prison.
Prison, really?
Plus, whenever the judge goes out there, I have to go with him. So, because I got to protect the judge. So when he goes out there for a hearing because a inmate has sued a prison guard, we hold a hearing, we got to go out there with him. When there's somebody he has to go out there pronounced dead, I go with him.
So you do the inquest at the prison?
Not all the time. If he personally wants me to go, I'll go. Sometimes I don't have to. So no, not all the time. But yes, I have to go in there and serve the prisoners. Same thing I serve anybody else. Lawsuits, they're being sued. Whenever these people commit crimes out in the free world, then they get sent to prison, they go in there, then the families then in turn start suing them civilly for, wrongful death, different things of that nature. And so I've got to serve on those lawsuits. So I have to go into prisons, both of them.
I didn't know, I yield back to the Commissioner.
Thank you, Judge. So, do we frequently have catastrophic, if not fatality, accidents on Highway 6, 105?
Oh, yeah, we have one of the, well, we did, but at one time we had one of the deadliest stretches of fatality in our area.
Do you anticipate that that trend may continue with the uptick in transportation from 249 as well as just general population growth?
Yeah, and plus, soon as school starts back, and it always, you got all the travel going to Prairie View and travel going to Texas A&M. And so you're looking at Highway 6 and FM 2 is one of the deadliest intersections in our county.
Do you think traffic enforcement is something that if the court were to see fit to grant the funding for this deputy, that the primary focus of that deputy would probably be traffic enforcement? A big percentage of the time when not in court or also doing some of the other duties?
Right, he'd be on Highway 6, he or she, I should say, would be on Highway 6 on a daily basis. Because, you gotta get up there, I mean, it ain't that to drive 85 and 90 on there.
And so I'm not saying anything about a quota, but just in general terms, based on observation, it probably wouldn't be that difficult to write 10 tickets a day on those feature roads.
Well, that'd be easy, you could write 10 tickets in the first couple hours.
Yeah, but excuse me again, if you wrote 10 tickets, you're probably gonna take 1 or 2 of those to jail. Or you'd have the option,
Well, and it all depends too.
and that kinda shuts you down.
I've done traffic enforcement in the past. I went out, and this is no joke, I went out in a 12-hour shift and had like 80-something contacts and never had one violation worth taking to jail. Meaning,
But, you know.
or I've had 3 cars I stopped and took 2 of them to jail. You see what I'm saying? It all depends.
If he's taking them to jail, there's probably a good reason.
There's a good reason
Oh,
they're
yeah.
going to
I
jail.
mean, you got a DWI, I'd rather him be
Off the road.
consumed with taking up time to take them to jail and write tickets, in my opinion. So, anyway, all those questions are just there to point out the fact that I believe, and I know Constable Mail has asked for it in the past, but I think that there is definitely a need. I know he wants it, but I foresee that there's going to be a need, if for no other reason, traffic enforcement and trash enforcement, as Commissioner Walker pointed out.
And that's why I said it's like a hybrid, you know. But you know, and it's a little bit of everything. But and there are times. I'm not going to sit there and say that, you know, 5 days a week, you know, the whole year that I'm super swamped and I've got 30, 40 papers to serve a day. No, that's not the way it is. But there are times where I'll go 2 or 3 weeks where every day I'm serving 10, 15, 20 papers, and I might go a week and might have 3 a day. But then those are good because in those weeks of 3 days, hopefully I have court that week, so they don't interfere with the weeks I have 17 a day, you know, or 30 a day.
But when you're doing court, then those papers stack up.
They stack. Yeah, and you know, sometimes it did, especially if we get caught in a jury trial where you're in there for a week, possibly 2 weeks. At lunchtime, instead of going to eat, you're going to try to serve papers. And then once you get out of court at 5 or 6, then you're trying to go serve for a couple hours before you go home, just to try to keep them from building up too much. So, and that's pretty much the reasoning why I requested it. And I know it's in a tough time. I know it's rough for everybody. So I feel what you should do personally is just cut everybody else's stuff and just give it to me. I mean, I'm just saying. I think that would make everybody else just happy. I think they'd be fine with it.
Except Constable 361 probably wouldn't be too happy with us, I don't think. Just guessing.
He's thinking, there go my lights and sirens again.
There goes my.
He's over there probably cussing me out.
No, I had my time to talk, but, you know, standing for Constable Mayo, and no disrespect to Commissioner's Court whatsoever, but I don't think y'all have a clue what the constables do. I mean, on a daily basis. And 90% of it is we'll get it, and I say this in joke sometimes when I speak to student centers. is we do what the sheriff's department don't want to do. And that's in a joking manner, but I'm serious. You'd be surprised how many calls I get a day, hey, we need a civil standby to come over here while we get our stuff. And the sheriff's department said, let me call you. The sheriff's department said that, and I'm not trying to say anything negative about the sheriff's department, I'm just saying, most people don't have a clue what the constables do, and we are busy. Councilman said, we're supposed to be in JP court, I've got the district court. You serve your papers, and then there's so, Dave, I've been called this morning, and it's stuff that's not really law enforcement associated, but it's something that the people need help with.
Sure.
The lady called me this morning. Hey, I told someone they could put a horse on my property for a day. Now they won't come get their horse. Will you come get them to get your horse? You know, things, it just.
Well, I feel like I know pretty much what y'all do. I did not know that you served the prison units. That's new to me.
Yeah, and I was just talking to the prison this morning because the Luther unit actually had 0 cases of the COVID-19. PAC unit is, I ain't going to that Sungun probably the rest of the year. Cause they just out there, they all sick. I don't even want to drive down that same FM road. I don't even want to breathe the same air. But I can't go there anyways because they're just locked down. Yeah, but I was talking to a law firm this morning and to the prison of trying to get a new way of a new normal to actually serve the prisoners at the Luther unit, which hopefully I get to go this week. So I've got a stack of about 40 papers I got to get to them. So that's going to take me over half a day right there.
They can't deliver them once you take them to their authorities?
I've got to serve them in person unless there is some other deal that we can have it where I can serve it to the law library supervisor or to a TDCJ agent, so to speak, and then they can release that. But it's just like anything that's issued out of court. If I got to serve it on Commissioner Cox, I got to serve it on Commissioner Cox. I can't give it to, his wife to give to him because it's direct to him. It says I have to serve him personally. Now, there are some leeways within the prison and the state to allow a little bit of leniency where, which one of the new normals is going to be where I'm no longer going down to the law library and I'm no longer going back into the prison and actually having to pull these inmates up one at a time to serve them. Now it's going to be more or less of they're going to have them in line and I'm going to go serve to a desk and a TDC. It's going to be weird. We're going to find out how it happens. And I'm just going to have to note it on the returns, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, usually when I go to the Luther unit, it's going to take up at least half a day, depending on how many I have, but I get a lot there. So sometimes it takes me a half a day at the prison from about 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning until noon.
Commissioner, did you get to address all your questions?
I did, I think.
You think?
Until the next time. Commissioners, anything else? Commissioner Mel, is there anything you want, anything additional you need to share with us or ask us or?
Constable doesn't have anything else.
I'm
I don't
sorry.
know about Commissioner Mel.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just messing you. Okay.
That's all right.
No, that was it. I just wanted to make sure I'd gotten that out there, even though, it wasn't here, and I know that there's a lot of work y'all still have to do. So I hope that it's possible that some way or another it could be done, because I do believe it's warranted and needed. And I wouldn't be asking for it even in this situation we're in if I didn't think so. But it's ultimately up to y'all's decision. I respect it no matter what.
Thank you.
So thank y'all for y'all's time.
Thank you.
Anything else? Definitely for it.
Do we have
Commissioners, before we adjourn this workshop, is there anything that we need to discuss as part of this workshop that we need to make sure is on the table? Thank you, gentlemen.
What was Fund 53 for office?
Leo's.
That's his
Oh, that's a
Leo's.
different Leo's?
That's, hey Wes,
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
at your Leo's fund,
Is that a different Leo's, 53? I thought the other one
did
was
you already
33.
talk about your Leo's fund?
I did.
They, like.
Yeah, I was talking about with the Ipton Traveling Conference,
Yeah.
which none of it's getting spent this year because
Right, is
we're not going
there,
to.
I think currently how much is budgeted in that?
Says
It's like
600.
700 maybe?
Says 630 is in
And
there.
you're good with that number?
Yeah, because what I'll use that for next year is for my conference next year.
Right, okay. You
So,
don't
because
need
this year we're
more.
not going to it.
Yeah, so you don't need more in
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Now, obviously, so if I get a deputy, something like that, you know,
Yeah,
then we're gonna have to talk about it again. But yeah, as far as just for me, that's good.
okay. Thank you.
Before we close the workshop, Commissioners, I wanna throw out, just some thoughts, because I've been telling all of the elected officials and or department heads that have been here that we're not considering any merit increases or across the board increases at this point in time. If and when we do get our official numbers and we do find that we have extra money, or I say money that we could budget towards merit increases or cost of living adjustments, what's the opinion of the commissioners of how y'all would like to handle it?
As far as how it's distributed, or?
Yeah,
I
all
think
of the above. I mean, you know, one, if there was, we've given a 2.5% cost of living last year. We gave a 2% the previous year, which is 4.5% over the last 2 years, which is not a significant amount, but I think it was helpful to all of our employees. And even the elected officials enjoyed that amount. Some enjoyed a little bit more than that. And we did make a special adjustment for our road and bridge engineer and our IT director on the basis of we want to make sure that we kept those two individuals on the basis of the work that they were doing. So I don't know that we need to make a decision today, but it's a question I pose to you. Do you think we are better suited to consider a cost of living or an individual merit? And then if it was an individual merit, then the homework assignment is, how do we decide how we break that out? You know, does each department get a % of the payroll within the county? And we distribute in that fashion, and they distribute amongst their folks if they've got the evaluations that show it, or you know, how is it adjusted?
I think it should be a merit, and then we present a percentage of the payroll to each department.
Okay.
And they can distribute how they see fit.
And then we also,
Started. Instead of the cost of living, because
Right.
that's kind of we tried to get away from is while we have our grade situation and
Right.
our evaluations, is to actually give them merit ratings instead of across the board.
and at present, everybody is within their salary grade, at least from the minimum. So, all right, well, something to think about, and then we also have elected officials that have asked for increases, so we also need to be prepared to address that. Any other comments before we adjourn this meeting, this workshop?
I was trying to find the letter from the Texas Association of Counties. Do we need to investigate that a little bit more on a commissioner's court maybe hearing or agenda? I don't know.
I think probably that would be appropriate for a commissioner's court agenda, because if we do override the 3.5, we have to make if that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
We do need to declare a resolution on that. And I do believe the deadline is by August the 1st, if not before.
Okay.
I forwarded that email. Please read it in its entirety because it does discuss counties in that newsletter that I was discussing earlier.
And when did you forward that?
Just now.
Okay.
Well, good. We can pose it to council, Texas Association of Counties Council, what was forwarded to us, and see what they have, what feedback.
Yes, do you want me to forward the letter I was talking about earlier as well? I know the title was labeled cities, but within
Yes.
the body of it, it does.
I thought that's what you were talking about. So what are you
Yes,
saying?
yes,
You
that
forwarded
is
to it?
Okay, so do you want me to forward that to you? I don't think it was forwarded to you.
Yes, please forward.
Okay.
But you were saying you forwarded a letter, so I was trying to determine which letter.
I forwarded the newsletter that received from the appraisal district that I was discussing earlier. In the title, it says, it only states cities, but within the body of it, it does state counties in there as well.
Okay. So
So
you're talking about two different letters or one letter you forwarded? Because you say you didn't forward it to me.
no, I just did to the judge.
Oh, okay. Well, you might want to let us all see it, okay?
Any other requests before we adjourn? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. And we're going to close this workshop at 11:49.